about cameras or what any of the settings did, but what was awesome is that if you go to like the help thing on the little dial, it just tells you what every setting does and what they all are. And I was like, oh, okay, you don't need to like know how to use a camera to use this camera. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, which is nice. I've just been using various YouTube channel things because my camera is so popular. I've just been kind of
Yeah.
YouTubing it because the guy I bought it from, his. Let me see if I can find it. So it came with the original box, which is really nice. But I bought it off Facebook Marketplace. But the problem
Yeah.
is the all the instructions are in Spanish.
That will,
Set you back.
you mean like on the camera?
No, in the book. 'Cause I was gonna read the book
Oh,
because it came with like a 300-page book. So
yeah.
I'm just using
Um,
YouTube to kind of go over everything. Because yeah. So I played
well,
with some
that or I
settings.
think, yeah, you should be able to download like the manual in English somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, I'm just going through a guy that goes through my exact model, and he goes through every little thing. Here, actually, why am I there? He goes through everything that is the camera can do and all that, so it's a lot easier to just do video.
Everything that's relevant. Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's see. Other than that, more work stuff. I tore the leather on my steering wheel
Oh,
because
it happens.
the rivets that are on the pockets of jeans and most men's pants,
Yeah.
it caught in the leather while it's still really hot. So
Yeah. It'll get in there and just,
yep.
yeah.
So that and then the AC on the car went out, so I have to. I'm driving like an old Le Mans driver, sucking my balls off.
That is also something that happens just with old cars.
Yeah. So
AC does go out.
so I'll ask him. It's in the shop. Going to be going to the shop at the end of the month, so I'll ask, see if he can do anything with it. Otherwise, I'll get it
Any
fixed.
shop should be able to do AC. Doesn't have to be just him.
You'd think, but the problem is that apparently I don't understand it, but even though there's garages everywhere, none of them have kind of Google websites, so I can't review them.
Ah,
And the ones that do and speak English are overbooked to the point where they just refuse to see my car.
well, yeah, they're probably full up of customers because there's so many Americans there and only so many English speaking shops there.
Yeah, so it's very annoying
Yeah.
because that's the thing. I don't need to speak English to them. I just need to literally Google Translate like 4 words and be like, fix.
Air conditioning broken, please fix.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
um, yeah. So it's every shop here is booked. It's a kind of a frustrating thing, but you just get used to it. Just stay
Yeah.
hydrated and you're fine.
It's been hot here too, which is why I'm wearing a loose fitting, breathable baseball jersey
Mm.
that's mostly unbuttoned because it's 87 degrees in my living room right now.
Yeah, it's 90, 91, I think, outside, and then with like 80% humidity, so it's just death. Like I
Yeah,
watched.
it's July 6th, and thankfully, no one in Linden is still fireworking, even though the entire week and a half leading up to the 4th they were.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it was wild.
Um,
For 4th of July, they actually opened up Camp Foster to anybody. So a lot of
oh,
locals went on base. So some of my local companions told me about how good Popeye's chicken was because they love chicken.
yeah, fried food's big over there,
Yeah,
which I
beer.
get it. Fried food is delicious. More so because they do fried food so much better in Japan than we do in America.
Oh yeah.
It feels. I know it's still not good for you, but it feels so much less unhealthy for you than it does over there.
Oh yeah. I prefer especially Family Mart chicken because I find the breading on Popeyes to be a little harder,
Yeah,
a little
it's
crispier. So I'm not a big fan. And also, someone on our team went to the one the Cadena one that's in the next,
Yeah.
and so they serve a lot of people every day.
Yeah.
Well, one of the people that was on my team went and ate a sandwich there, and it was super undercooked, and he didn't realize till he was like halfway through it, and then he was like,
Ooh.
oh no, and then he had food
Oh,
poisoning for
that's,
like the next week and a half.
oh. Yeah.
I'm just I don't know why he just didn't self purge right there, like go to the bathroom and just purge right then and there, like least amount of damage, man.
Yeah, man. If you like suspect you're gonna be sick after eating something, you should just go two finger surprise yourself and get it out. That way you're not sick. But
Oh yeah, it's a because that's the thing. You're gonna feel a lot better. Like yeah, it's not good for you, but it's like when you drank too much and you know you drank too much. It it's sometimes just easier to self purge than deal with the 3 hours leading up to puking.
yeah, just don't just either that. Don't if
Make
you
it.
just drink so much that you feel sick, like just puke, just puke and
Yeah.
feel better. You know, they say like puke and rally. It is like just like uh, Anthony Garcia
Mm.
on Kraken was always good at that. We'd all be drinking on the pier or whatever. He'd disappear for like a couple minutes and like nobody'd see him, and he'd come back and he'd just drink it again and be fine and move that. I'd see him and be like, "You threw up, didn't you? You went and threw up off the pier. You went behind the
Uh,
dumpster and threw off the pier, didn't you?" You're like, you can rally, bro. Rally. Like don't like suffer with I'm gonna throw up for like that. Just go throw up
oh
and
yeah.
you're fine.
And that's the thing is it's not even gonna be like your stomach's gonna hurt. Like you're gonna get cold sweats. You're gonna feel like you're fucking dying. Like it's
Yeah,
miserable.
you're gonna feel horrible while your body
Like
tries to cleanse itself.
and especially if you're trying to sleep and that happens, like then that's messing with your sleep schedule. Just puke and get it over with, and then go to sleep. Just
Yeah, it is. Puke and go to bed.
well, no, I mean you should drink some water because you're gonna have that acid in your throat.
Right. Yeah.
But drink some water afterwards. Put something healthy in your body. But definitely, yeah, just get it out. Be done with it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really drink anymore, but
Yeah, same.
I felt two things. Speaking of fast food, I got the Grimace Happy Birthday meal from
Mm.
McDonald's. Second thing, I feel like I've confirmed I'm lactose intolerant now,
Oh
despite
yeah.
having never been in my life before. Because that just the shake alone
Hmm.
fucked me up for like 3 days.
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, I can't do dairy. I
Uh,
no
to
longer will be doing dairy. All right.
to be fair, I think it's a lot of people that are having problems with that shake because a lot of the YouTubers I watch did drink it.
The TikToks and the
They were
videos have
like,
been
it's
great.
don't. They were like, do not drink this. You will feel like shit afterwards. So I don't know what
Yeah.
they put into it, but definitely
Well,
nothing
even
good.
I've noticed recently, like even like when I have cereal and like I drink the milk, like I
Mm,
feel sick all day afterwards, and I'm like,
mm,
okay, I think I went so long while in the Navy, like without doing dairy, that like
yeah.
now I can't do it now because it will
Mm.
make me sick now.
Yeah, you have to find one of those
Um,
alternative milks. See if you can find one that.
yeah, that's won't.
Yeah.
It's weird. Coffee creamer doesn't fuck with me at all. I put creamer in my coffee, that I like buy
Maybe
at the
it's
store.
maybe it's
I
an
don't know if there's
amount.
milk in it or not, maybe, but yeah,
Maybe it's like the amount of milk you put in, because like drinking a cereal milk is there's obviously going to be a good bit,
right,
and
right, right, yeah.
so I'm sure there's probably a lot in that grimace shake too. So it might just be
And
your
the
body can
sugar,
yeah
and that's a different kind of sugar than like, well,
yeah
yeah, these don't fuck me up at all. Never have.
yeah
Mm.
that'd be frustrating if it did.
I know because I enjoy them so much.
There's not a lot of other good ones.
No, we were talking about that in the group chat. There's like three good energy drinks now. There used to be like four, but Amp doesn't exist anymore. So
I mean, I miss like yeah, you could say that. What was the green one? Vault, the one that was preceding Vault as well. Those are kind of like an energy drink.
yeah, Vault was like a soda energy drink
Yeah,
before like companies went full energy drink.
yeah,
And
which
it was
is
when they were
not
still like, you know,
playing
Coke was
around.
still like, we can win the Mountain Dew war. And, that was when they had Surge, and then Surge went away.
Yeah,
Surge was actually, unique in that it was a grapefruit soda. And I don't know why there hasn't been another grapefruit soda, because you can still get Surge at Burger King, and
Mm-hmm.
it's delicious. Honestly, it's delicious. As a soda connoisseur, I
Mm-hmm.
find it delightful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, Surge went away, and then I think Vault came out, and that was their Surge replacement Mountain Dew killer, and then that went away too because it
Yeah.
wasn't that good. And then
I mean, I liked Volt. I really did. Especially
I liked it too.
the
It was good.
red Blitz as well. That was pretty
The
good, but
Code Red competitor, yeah,
yeah. So like they were good. It's just I don't know. It was a shame when they went away, but times change.
they were good, but they weren't killing
Mountain,
the market like
yeah,
Coca Cola expected to.
yeah, they
So
weren't taking the shares back from Mountain Dew because Mountain Dew is just a very deep rooted thing.
yeah, there's a very viable Mountain Dew competitor, but only like in the South. And when we go back to the East Coast and we're in North Carolina, I'll get some for you to try it. Sundrop. Sundrop's
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
no, I've had that before.
Yeah, I love Sundrop in the old glass Dale Earnhardt bottles because Dale Earnhardt really liked Sundrop, and I think he ran a special paint scheme of Sundrop once. It's a pretty cool looking 3 car. And, recently, when Dale Jr. raced again, he comes back like one, 2 races a year. He'll pick a series and he'll run a race. He ran a 3 car, and it was a Sundrop paint scheme. It was green, 3 on the side, looked cool. But yeah, that was pretty much it. The NASCAR race in Chicago was super interesting.
Yeah, it was. It was.
I know you and Miller watched it. He usually doesn't watch NASCAR. I don't think you ever watched NASCAR, and it was different because it was a city circuit, and not a NASCAR driver won.
Yeah, I mean,
Which I predicted would happen because they can't do not ovals. Like they try hard, but like it's been a long time since a NASCAR driver was also a good road course racer.
oh yeah, and that thing was it was also wet too. Like
Yeah,
so it was there was a lot of different variables that they probably weren't used to, which was good. I mean, it was a very interesting race to see,
yeah.
the different variables come into play.
Throw everything at them. Make them perform.
Like there was very tight turns, which is great to watch.
It was like 6 90-degree turns on that Chicago street circuit.
And a couple of them actually like caused a pretty good pileup.
There was a substantial pileup near the end there. Yeah. That was pretty fucking hilarious. I love that. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a pretty good race.
I honestly just don't even know what day it is half the time because of my work schedule. So I was like, you messaged the group chat saying about it, and I thought it was Thursday. I was like, oh.
Well, yeah. Since being out of school on June 23rd, I think was last ago. I haven't. I don't even. I'm not sure my watch has the right time on it. I don't know what time it is right now.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I think it's Tuesday.
Negative.
No, it's Thursday.
21, 22, 25.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I've just through no needing to do anything on any sort of timetable, I have no concept of what day or time it is either.
Yeah.
I got a letter in the mail.
Well, yeah.
Right here from excuse me, my nose. Washington Department of Transportation informing me that I have a fee to pay for a toll that I didn't pay 3 years ago. Strangely enough, apparently the December that I was still on my last deployment, someone was on the 405 northbound in my truck and using a toll road and didn't pay a toll. So, I sent my ex-wife's sister a message and said, hey, that road trip you guys took in my truck without asking or telling me about. You owe me $47. Yeah. Well, you owe the state $47. I let her know. Like, hey, you can pay it, she can pay it, whoever can pay it. I'm not paying it,
Yeah, not you. Fuck that.
I was on a boat in the South Pacific. I didn't get the fucking toll.
Yeah, no. That's stupid. Like
even if I did though, 3 years?
Oh yeah, that's
3 years later, you're like, you owe us for that toll.
They are
fuck no, the fuck I don't.
Yeah, no.
You had 90 days to notify me, and you didn't.
At that point, I would just see how long it goes, and then as soon as you leave the state, you never come back. So it's like, fuck it.
Yeah, they're like, it might be tough for you to renew your registration if you don't pay. They're like, I've renewed the registration 3 fucking times since I apparently got this.
Yeah, like apparently no one cares.
Yeah.
Speaking of fine, well, hold on. Eating some tough gummies.
Tough gummies.
They're pretty good.
Gummies for men. None of those pussy weak soy jack
I mean, it's pretty
transgender gummies. These are straight white man gummies.
well,
They're tough.
Now that Pride Month's done, yes. But
yeah.
So apparently, I have a internet fee that I pay monthly, but then I also have a 2,000 yen fee I'm supposed to pay monthly that I thought was set up to autopay, but apparently I never did. And that's for the usage of my internet equipment, I think, or something like that. Something stupid. So
they're gonna come take your router?
they sent me a message saying, hey, or they sent me an email saying, hey, we need you to come pay this, otherwise we're going to shut it off next week. And I was like, okay, did I miss a payment? I could have sworn I paid them all. So I totally forgot about that 2,000 yen one. So I went in, I was like, all right, don't shut it off. I'll be in, tomorrow. It's whatever. And they're like, all right. So you owe us, you haven't paid your bill since March 2022. It is now July 2023. And I'm like,
it's over a year. You're like, that's an awfully long time for them to not shut the internet off if I hadn't been paying it.
I was very confused. I was like, that's okay. How much is it gonna be? And they're like, oh, it'll be, it was basically like $200, like whatever, but there was no late fee at all, and I was like, that's fucking wild. There was no late fee for over a year.
That's fantastic, because the 40 of the $47 of that fee is a late fee.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're going to charge me a late fee? It took you 3 years to mail me a letter?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, when I got it, was already a week past its due date that was on the letter. The due date, 6/29. I got this like a week ago. So it was already like the day after the due date when I got the letter.
Oh, God. But... yeah, they basically were just like, all right, well, you have this auto pay thing set up. It's basically like a service. You pay like 2,000 yen a month to fucking, and they pay all your bills for you. So like, all right, we're gonna call them, and you just have to give them, some information, and then it'll be good to go, and then you don't have to worry about it again. So I did that, and I'm all good to go now. I don't have to worry about my internet for the rest of the time I'm here. It's just gonna auto pay.
I hate when I think of bills on auto pay, and then. Like right now, like the end of the month rolls around and I've got like more in my bank account than I should have. And I'm suspicious of that. And I start going, okay, well, let's look at my bank account statement. What actually didn't pay itself? What's fucked up? And it's like, and more often than not, what it usually is like whatever service, like the gas company or the electric company or like the city utility or like the trash people use to manage auto pay, just turns auto pay off for no reason.
Yeah.
Which like if the amount the next month ends up different by 1 cent, they turn off auto pay. Yep. It's like, just fucking stop it. Fucking quit it.
And then you get a late fee because it didn't pay, and she fucking managed to figure it out by the end of the month. So
no, I never do. I always I call 6 or 7 different people and I read them all the goddamn riot act and I tell them it's your fault this didn't pay because you, with your service, turned the auto pay off. So I don't owe you a late fee.
Shit's annoying.
And sometimes I get my way. Usually I don't because you can't fight the government.
Yeah. And companies don't really care.
A lot of crypto companies are finding out right now that you cannot fight the government.
Yes, Binance and Coinbase.
They've been indicted by the SEC.
Yep, because they went more so Binance because Coinbase didn't do as much wrong. Binance purposely went and did all their shit wrong to save themselves money, which spoiler doesn't work on your favor. Coinbase
might be saying they did it, through ignorance, but I also fully believe that anyone in that sphere, the crypto is an entire idea to me. It is the rug pull like that. There is no reason to ever buy into it.
No,
invest in it. Like,
no.
don't stay the fuck away from it. It is all a scam.
Oh yeah,
And
that's the thing is.
I have this friend who just like is a full believer in like crypto and markets and a bit. He's full on like a Joe Rogan watching
No,
crypto
yeah.
trading full bro dude, which is it's sad that I've seen him go that way because he used to be a good dude. But like I am just fully waiting for the day that like the SEC finally comes for like Ethereum and Bitcoin, and it's like, hey, actually, these aren't currency. These are commodity, or these aren't commodities. These are securities, and you can't trade them like you have been. And then all of a sudden, worthless.
Well, Bitcoin has established itself as a currency, so that one's actually fine. I don't know about Ethereum, but
They can change their mind anytime.
oh yeah, yeah. That's the thing is there's nothing really to back it up, like there is
No,
for
they
the
say that
stock.
like the proof of work tokens are like, oh, but you had this machine that like made it by mining it. Like, okay, well, none of that's actually like real. I mean,
Yeah,
you didn't dig it out of the ground. It's not a tangible thing you can hold. Like, it's
no,
not.
it's a very big YouTuber I watched called Jake Tran went and did a whole big video on it.
Yeah, I just
Uh,
watched that like last night.
yeah, so it did a very
Jake Train's
interesting.
good.
So, um, yeah,
And at the end of the
crypto
video,
is very interesting just because there's no tangibility to it. Like there are people that have
yeah,
actually lost hard drives with thousands of Bitcoin, and that's not like the stock market where you can just lose thousands of stocks. Like those stocks are
yeah.
somewhere.
Those stocks represent a quantifiable share of like a physical company that produces a thing
Yes.
or does a thing. Like
Yes.
that's what those are. But like a cryptocurrency literally does not exist
Like you,
outside of
for
the
a
numbers on a screen.
something to be have hold value, there has to be a typical set amount because basically it'd be the same as Zimbabwe where they floated their
Yeah, a
economy with
standard.
money. But with crypto, with you still being able to mine it and essentially add more to it, and apparently talking to various people because I have somebody that does it at my command as well. Um,
Fucking loser.
yeah, but he essentially goes into the fact that every 5 years they'll go and they'll release a set amount that can be mined. So that's why the value goes up is because then it adds a bunch more to the I guess economy.
Yeah, that's like malicious self-inflation right there. Like I don't understand how that makes it more valuable by them making more of them. If
I
anything,
don't
scarcity and rarity is what demands value. But as I
I don't
said, it all seems like a scam to me. I'll never buy into any of it.
no.
Yeah, I much prefer like you and I are fully planning on working in like quantifiable like physical things. We're going to build cars. Those are like an actual thing you can get use and enjoyment out of. Like
Yes,
that's where our value will come in. Is we build these cars.
so the safer thing for people to do is if they want to invest their money, the two safe things to do is actually the actual stock market, which is hit or miss right now, especially back in the day. You know, you'd be able to buy, say, an oil stock or whatever, and you'd be able to hold that. That's how I made as much money as I have currently, is through oil stocks and various things. The other safe thing to do is just CDs, because a lot of CDs right now, you go and you put in a set amount, and it'll be basically money that you pay a penalty if you want to get it back, but you go and you get it's like 4 or 5% right now. It's pretty good
Yeah,
for 12 to 24 months, and then you can go and you can do it so you can make more deposits, and basically the interest it'll make it usually does it monthly, so it'll make 4% on say 40 grand. You're making 4% on that, and then at the end of the month it'll go and do that 4%, and then it'll add it back in. So then you're making 4% on that 40 grand and then some, and then at the end
yeah.
you make a bit.
It's compounding interest
Yeah.
CDs. Yeah,
So it's a very safe way to do things. It's not going to make as much as stocks, but it's also there's no risk to a CD, so it's a very safe way to
yeah.
invest.
Unless like that bank goes under. But I mean,
But as long as you
yeah.
don't do a mom and pop bank, you're probably fine. Do like a credit union.
Any one of them that are federally insured by the FDIC, you'll
Yeah,
be fine.
so that's
Which,
usually the best thing to
if
do.
you know of a bank that isn't federally insured by the FDIC, just
I,
stay away from that bank. That bank sounds like a scam.
yeah, So there's various things that you can do to make money off your money that are better than putting into like a savings account, making 0.0001%. Um,
I have a savings account. I've never had any money in it. I just let my checking account accumulate money. I just like why transfer it? That's just an extra step, and there'd be another extra step and like a 3-day wait if I ever needed to like take it out. So I just leave it all in my checking account.
Yeah, that's like the safe thing to do. Is I mean, yes, the savings account is good if you want to make sure you set aside some for like a rainy day fund, and then you want to make sure you don't have access to it. But at the same time, it isn't a bad idea just to keep it in checking out and just be fiscally responsible. So
yeah,
yeah,
I do my budget every month and I make sure I live inside of it.
and there you go, and that makes things good. Good, makes balancing your books and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Crypto is definitely one of those weird things. That's like NFTs, which I'm glad NFTs have failed because they
were always dumb.
They don't make sense because it's essentially like if we ever get to the point where we have robots that can paint paintings, and we say yes, this painting is worth $60,000, but then we get a same robot because they're never going to be unique. You just get the same robot, and then you say
show it a picture of that painting and be like, remake this, and it will.
And then it's like, okay, well, it can't use whatever this shade of blue because you can't get it where you are. So you get the shade of blue, one pigment different. Well, it's technically different.
Yeah.
So NFTs don't make sense. They're never going to be a thing. It's the same as I know for a while they were trying to sell real estate in the digital world.
Metaverse real estate, yeah. That was
and
just,
I know people that were
I
pushing
can't believe
for that.
The amount of very obvious bullshit scam shit that not only were people like buying into and getting scammed by it, but were like making videos and publicizing it and talking about like, dude, I did this, you should do this. Like, you're an idiot. You just let all of us know that you're a big gullible idiot.
Yeah, that's the same as NFTs and even crypto.
It's the same with like bored housewives and MLM schemes.
Yeah, it's like there are people that will make money off it, yes, but most people will not. So it's just safer for the majority to not follow the billionaires and stuff like that, the millionaires that made money off their once in a lifetime scam, like the guy that made the pet rock. Like,
but bro, you thinking like that is the reason you're never gonna be a billionaire.
Yeah.
You listen to more Andrew Tate, bro, and fucking be a real alpha, and fucking.
He's a sick man.
You gotta keep your circle small, and they gotta be like, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you need to be in a new room.
Sure.
Just the dumbest shit that like bros talk about thinking they're smart.
So people are absolutely wild. They always will be.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I've thankfully always had a very good bullshit detector, and just like, oh, that seems like a scam.
Yeah, that's usually the best way to get through things, is just because
it's always safer to be skeptical than it is to believe in something.
Yeah, if something sounds too good to be true, then it typically is. In all aspects of life.
Yeah, I watched Top Gun Maverick recently.
Oh, how's that?
It's pretty good. It's free on Prime right now. Or it was free on Prime for me. I don't know. I have an add-on that made it free or something. My Prime is like $15 a month. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't know. Fuck, my nose will not stop itching, and I know it's because I'm a little bit sweaty, and it's because it's hot in here. But I'm gonna be itching it all fucking podcast long. Ignore me, everyone.
He's just doing coke. It's fine.
I'm not doing. If I were doing coke, I would be so much more energetic, and I probably would have cleaned the whole house by now. But no energy.
Oh, speaking of coke, I don't know if you saw the video of the lady that freaked out on the plane. I
think I saw a meme of her.
So yeah, she freaked out on the plane because she was like, the man next to me is a fucking lizard. I saw him do I saw his eyes. He has fucking lizard eyes, and then the man next, like in front of her, was like, "I saw it. The way he blinks is wrong, all kinds." And she freaked out. She literally like got off the plane.
This poor guy sitting there. He's like, I have rare eye disease. Actually, I probably must have met a lizard. Just trying to get home to Atlanta.
Yeah,
See my
okay.
wife and kids.
Calm down there, Mark Zuckerberg. We know who you are.
So I'm so upset that cage fight's not going to happen.
Yeah, the Coliseum actually offered to host it as well.
Like the Coliseum?
Yes.
That's just incredible. Those two selfish fuckers owe it to the entire world right now to have a cage fight because we all want it. Last I heard about it was Elon Musk's apartheid diamond mine owning racist ass mom said no, he wasn't allowed to do it. I'm like, this man is like in his 40s. He's allowed to have a cage fight if he wants.
I don't think it was his mom. I think it was him pussing out because that sounds like an easy way. Yeah.
Another funny Elon adjacent meme I saw recently was Grimace. Ain't that Elon's baby mama?
Jesus. Come on. Yeah, I don't remember. It just says Coliseum cage fight. I don't remember which Coliseum. It says it somewhere, but I
probably the Coliseum.
Most
right. I saw Italy's Minister of Tourism mentioned in there. I was like, oh shit! Like, actual gladiator fight between two people who are billionaires who the majority of the public actually hates.
Yeah,
that would have been amazing.
That would have been a good pay-per-view.
I wouldn't have pay-per-viewed it. I'd have found someone streaming it on Twitch.
Yeah, with the controller.
Like exactly like I did. Yeah, holding the controller. Like, oh man, I lost my combo. It's exactly how I watched the NASCAR race.
Oh yeah.
Someone's international stream with no commercials was great.
Yeah. The other big thing that Elon's pushing. Well, two things Elon did was one, he's pushing for politicians.
He's still ruining Twitter. I know he's doing that.
So before we get into Twitter, the other thing was he's pushing for politicians to make it that U.S. citizens without children are unable to vote because they have no stake in the future. He says
completely untrue.
He says as he is alienated by his kids.
Citizen.
He's not a well. I don't think he's a citizen. He's not U.S. born, and he's alienated by his kids because they fucking hate him. So I was like, well you have no stake in the future.
Single child that he gave a really dumb name to. That kid even old enough to hate?
No, he has multiple kids.
Kid like 3.
He has multiple kids.
I did not know he had other children.
Yes.
I know he had a whole life before he became the Tesla guy and started dressing like a supervillain.
Oh yeah, he had a fucking emo stage too, which you can find that picture. It's pretty funny.
I know. He didn't found PayPal, but I think
he has 10 kids.
PayPal. Wow. Definitely a South African guy, that's for sure.
So yeah, he was married to those two, and then he was, I guess, not married but partnered with Grimes. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Grimes doesn't believe in marriage or whatever.
Sure. I don't
stupid,
really care.
Dumb techno hippie, fucking idiot.
Yeah, she's retarded. But yeah. And then with Twitter, essentially, because he's been firing all his people, and leaving basically no one because he doesn't want to pay anybody. So Google's actually trying to sue him because they haven't been paid in a while for the services that they're giving Twitter. But also because
I fully believe he's not paying them. Yeah.
But also on top of that is I don't know if it was him or someone that some brain dead idiot rewrote the code for Twitter, but essentially what happens is they rewrote the code so it self DDoSes, which is the reason that when they put the limits on how many tweets you can view for paid and verified or whatever authenticated is 6,000 for what is it? It's verified but not paid with the blue check. It's like 600, and then if you are unverified, unpaid, basically like a user, like typical user, it's 300. Tweets a day.
That's fantastic. We look back at Yeah, like Tucker, and like what led Tucker to fail was his adversarial relationship with the big three automakers and the
Mm-hmm.
federal government. And what led DeLorean to fail was, his wild and craziness and his refusing to cave to like federal motor vehicle standards about bumper heights and things like that, and it made his
Mm-hmm.
car terrible. And then there was the whole cocaine thing, and it's
Yeah,
like
the setup that
in
guy
like
did.
15 years, like we're gonna be looking back on like what caused Tesla to fail, and it was like the CEO was a pompous dickhead who loved fame too much, and he
Oh
bought
yeah,
the most popular website in the world, and then he ran it into the ground.
and lost billions of dollars because of that.
Yeah, and I feel like what's going to happen is we're going to find out pretty shortly here that the reason he's not paying Google and these people is because he doesn't have any fucking money left.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't understand is the money isn't there anymore because you look at how Tesla's build quality control is, it's terrible. The
Yeah,
quality
it's gone
control
down a
is
lot.
it's tanked, their safety rating has gone down, like all of their reviews overall have gone down.
Admittedly, their safety rating they probably should have never had in the first place because like it sure certainly seems like that company doesn't really do any oversight in
No.
terms of safety with their vehicles and like the
No.
self-driving thing or anything like that.
Yes. Yes.
They're just like, we think this will work. Let's try it. Like,
Yeah.
did you do any kind of testing or R&D on it? Any field test?
Yeah,
No.
and it's honestly, even from a skeptical point of view, it's most likely that they paid the right people because it's the same as Neuralink in that 1 year they went from killing dozens of monkeys to yes, it is good enough for human
Approved for
trials.
human trials.
Like, yeah, I don't think it passed. I think you guys paid the right people.
I had big hopes for Neuralink, and that the cyberpunk dystopian future I've always wanted would be coming about. We'd all have cyber decks and shit pretty
But not
soon.
from
But
Elon. Not from
no, they're
Elon.
not going to be from Elon. No.
If anything, it'll be something that it'll get hacked and you'll have millions of people buying it day one and then it'll get hacked and you'll have a mass suicide.
Yeah.
Because, you cause some fucking
Yeah.
electrocution in their brain.
Rather than seeing billions of malware bytes constantly going across your eyeballs, just people throwing themselves off buildings.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy anything from Musk just because it's none of
I'm
his
going to
stuff is
continue
good.
building no longer state of the art cars with no longer state of the art equipment in my happy little shop
Yeah,
with my best friend.
yeah. So definitely not that good. And then Twitter won't do good. I don't see Twitter lasting another year just because of this DDoS thing happening. That essentially Twitter makes their money from advertisements. So by limiting how many tweets people can view a day, they're killing the advertising
You've just
business.
self-limited your own advertising portfolio, yeah.
So, and then I know that the next big thing that happened with them was they're currently suing Metaverse because essentially what happened was with Twitter firing all the good people that worked for them, Metaverse immediately picked them all up and started going
Yeah,
and
and
making their
they're
own.
creating like their own kind of Twitter.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's a full-on different website or if it's going to be like a feature on Facebook that where like
I
Facebook
have no
becomes
idea.
like a Twitter.
I have no
Uh,
idea, but it'll be interesting. I don't see that lawsuit going anywhere because essentially they got fired, so it's unless they're under they signed a contract saying we will not
yeah,
go and do what X whatever
yeah.
the next
Unless they had a
years.
non-compete X amount of years after their contract, which
I
may
doubt.
or may not be null and void if you get fired and they invalidate your contract by
Yeah,
firing you.
yeah.
And even then, if that is the case, well, you got to prove they violated some kind of NDA about
It'll be very
copying
tough.
IP, and it's
It'll be
it would be a
very tough.
years long court battle that I know Elon probably doesn't have the money for.
No,
I know Zuckerberg's got the money for it.
absolutely, because that's the
He
thing
did
is
he
Zuckerberg
did the
doesn't.
right thing.
Yeah,
He set
Zuckerberg
up
is.
Facebook, it got huge, and then he didn't fuck with it. He just
Yeah,
let it go.
he
He
didn't
just
fuck with it.
didn't fuck with it.
He hasn't spent his money doing other dumb shit like.
He's been smoking meats.
Yeah, he smokes meats and he's a fucking black belt. Like that's what he does.
Yeah, he's got I think a small Asian wife, and he
Yeah.
smokes meats, and he looks like from the video of him smoking meats that he lives in like a very small residential looking
Which
house
I
in
don't
California,
believe.
which I don't believe.
No.
I think maybe he was just like hiding out there or something. I'm sure he's got many homes,
Yeah.
but yeah. If I had Zuckerberg money, I wouldn't be living in a split level ranch in fucking Modesto,
No,
I
can't. I can't say I would want to willingly. I would live in California. I think if I was that rich, I would have my own jet and I would fly to the office if need be. Be like, look, if you don't need me, just video chat me.
yeah.
Like I'll
Yeah, if it
be.
can't be handled in an email or a call and I have to be there, I will jet there. You will wait for me because I'm in charge of everything. But,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. Um, other than
I don't know.
that,
I never want to get, like, that huge. I think ultimately, like, dude, best case scenario for us is I end up in, like, a Richard Rawlings kind of sphere. It's like, hey, I got, like, the merch brand. I started a tequila company. I got some restaurants, whatever. It's like, hey, cool. I have this sort of empire that I can just like let run itself, and I can just not be there and not do that. I
mhm.
no longer have to be the dancing monkey on TV to make Discovery
Yeah.
happy, which I don't think you and I would ever sell out and make a show for like Discovery or History Channel, even though they fucking love car shows. With the less actual work in them, the better.
Yeah, if anything,
Yeah.
I would only probably do Amazon just because they're typically a lot more creative friendly.
That's the thing. Too. If we did a show like with Amazon, it wouldn't be uh, like a typical like Discovery History Channel car show. It wouldn't be like a shop show where we're like building. It would be more like a grand tour. It's like, hey, we built these cool things, and now we're gonna go do this with them. It would be
Mm.
like the grand tour, which I mean, those guys are getting old, and I'm sure there's gonna be
There's going to be
sorry.
desire because their
There's gonna be
reviews
no shortage of people hoping to take up the mantle of the three dudes on a show
and
doing fun shit.
there's not many people that could because if you look at the big car people, a lot of them are
Yeah,
old or they're very out of touch. Like if you look at
yeah.
basically the new Top Gear, Matt LeBlanc and all them, they're out of touch. They're not good.
They're incredible. Matt LeBlanc has been out of touch since Friends. Since he got that money, that man has been out of touch with like actual people
And
a
then
long
you
time.
look at Chris, what's his face? Like
Chris Harris,
he's crashed a lot of expensive cars. He's not a good driver.
like Chris Harris, the race car driver.
Yeah.
Sure,
So
he is. Tanner Faust was an actual race car driver, and the first iteration of Top Gear America wasn't terrible. It started out pretty bad, but I think by the end of it, they were starting to get it. It was
yeah.
starting to be good, and then they like canceled it, and then they started another Top Gear America with Dax Shepard and Rob Corddry and some guy, and it's awful.
Derek Shepard, the uh, the race car team owner.
No. Dax Shepard, the guy
Oh.
from fucking Without a Paddle and Chips,
Mm,
and I don't know. He's been
mm.
in movies. He's married to what's her name, the girl who sings Frozen,
Okay,
who was in. She was in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
I thought you were talking about Derek Shepard. I think. Am I thinking of his character name? Oh, I'm thinking of his character name. Huh?
Oh, Dr. Derek Shepard? No,
Patrick
not
Dempsey.
Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah.
Patrick Dempsey actually likes cars, but he's another
Yes.
Jerry Seinfeld. He pretty much only likes Porsche 911s, and yeah.
Yes. Oh, speaking of which, have you seen?
Oh, and speaking of, I didn't get to finish on about car shows. There's a new car show out, and it's awful. It's Robert Downey Jr.
Hmm.
and it's called Dempsey's Dream Cars or not fucking Downey's Dream Cars
Oh
or some
yes,
shit like
yes.
that.
I saw.
And
He
it's
makes
not
them.
great.
He makes them all electric, and I don't understand.
Yeah, he's like
Very much pushing that.
it's under this guise of like I like cars, but I want to like do my part for the environment. Like, buddy, hybrid or electric swapping your whole fleet isn't going to do that. If you really want to do your part, just stop flying private. There you go. You fixed it. Just stop
Yeah,
flying
you don't
private.
need you don't
You've
need a
done
TV
more than you
show.
could.
You don't need a TV
Yeah,
show.
they
It's stupid.
episode. I think it's the second episode. His mom's Mercedes. He got like probably as emotional as like Robert Downey Jr. can get now because I think he's just as a defense mechanism no longer has emotions.
Yeah.
He was talking about how like the last time I saw my mom and she was alive, she was in this car and it was this beautiful old Mercedes and they fucking ruined it. It looks awful.
Let's see if I can. Downey's.
Oh, Downey's dream car, yeah. And just got images, yeah. The
And there
first
he
one,
is, trying to look like Carol Shelby.
He's trying his best, yeah. Speaking of Carol Shelby, I recently watched another movie, Air,
Hmm.
the whole Air Jordan Nike story, and
Hmm.
Matt Damon stars in that. And there's a great Easter egg is that the whole time that you see him like sitting at his computer or whatever at Nike, he's got a little Cobra toy car on top of his monitor, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's a nice Easter egg.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, that's the Mercedes. That's what they did to a beautiful old Mercedes. It's army green. It's got this weird,
Why?
gross, opaque brass
That looks like it's
finish
fucking
on all the
almost
trim
turf.
now. Yeah, and if I
That
wish there were before pictures of it because it was actually a great looking car.
that looks like ASAP Rocky kind of shit.
Oh, his fucking Need for Speed cartoon bullshit.
Yeah, like there. You can see his Mercedes.
I can forgive the kind of shit he does because as a creative, as like a rapper, a musician, and also someone who's very much partnered with fashion labels and was a model, he's got that kind of abstract artistic expression going on. And Downey Jr. is just an actor, Say what you want about
Oh
creativity, but like
yeah, no.
they're artists in like a different way. They don't like make beautiful things,
No.
They just kind of like play out parts.
That's
Um,
there's very few actors unless an actor has full creative freedom and they actually make good use of
yeah,
it, which isn't a
unless
lot
an
of actors.
actor's done other things like also been in a band or started a company like Keanu Reeves or like Johnny Depp has a band,
Or
or like
they were comedians
they've gone
before.
on to
They've done other
yeah,
things. They weren't
or
just
they've been comedians or like they've actually like directed and created projects like fucking Ben Affleck and Fargo or not Fargo or whatever the one where he's directed movies and the thing about Israel or some shit in the 70s in the plane.
hmm.
What was that called?
I have no idea. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I don't either, but purely allegorical and just yeah.
Ben Affleck cars.
Yeah, no, Ben Affleck. It's the movie Argo. Yeah, Argo. I think is what it was. Yeah, right at the top. Go
There.
back
Well,
up.
oh,
Go back up.
I was just doing fucking writer.
Oh yeah, he wrote shit too. He wrote shit like early on in his career. Yeah, he
Yeah,
like wrote part of Good Will Hunting.
Goodwill Hunting. Yeah.
Yeah, like the dude.
Argo,
It's fucking.
produced by.
Aside from also being like a really cool guy who's like actually just like personal friends with Kevin Smith, which is why he's in all of his movies. Like,
Yeah.
what a talented guy too. Aside from being just like a cool, good guy, like.
Damn, that was a good.
I think, if I were in that space, like I think I'd actually just like hanging out with Ben Affleck. I
Yeah.
bet he is a good dude. There
Yeah.
was a great part in Air where so he's in Air. He plays Phil Knight. There he is with the sunglasses on, playing Phil Knight in Air. He has a great scene where he's talking about his Porsche, and apparently in the '80s, Phil Knight actually had this grape 930 Porsche, and he's going
Yeah.
on. He's like, it takes 17 layers of paint to get that particular finish of purple on that car. They just call it grape,
Mm-hmm.
Sounds pretty mundane when you just talk about it like that. It's like they just call it's 17 shades of purple. They just call it grape. It's like
All right. I think I know
yeah.
him or something.
I don't know the name sounds familiar. Certainly Jay Moore.
Mm,
I think he was a comedian before he started acting.
maybe I don't know. But yeah, speaking of like
Yeah, Air was a
him,
good movie though.
yeah, I have to see that eventually. I just didn't even know who was
It
in
is
it.
also free on Amazon.
Mm,
And you'll spot the Easter egg as soon as you see Matt Damon sitting at his desk. You'll see a little purple or a little blue cobra on top of his monitor. And you're like, oh, because you were, oh, okay. I
noise.
bet. Guess he really took that part to heart and like really enjoyed it because like
Which is
I
good.
simply do not believe like that is there coincidentally. I
No.
believe Matt Damon put it there.
I mean, that's good. That's good because like that was a pretty good movie. Like, yeah, they got things wrong, but like that's gonna happen with it's a entertainment movie. It's not.
It wasn't a documentary.
No. But yeah, speaking of other actors, not her, him.
Oh, who's she though? No,
Fucking.
I've
I don't know.
heard weird things about him that make me not a fan of his.
I have no idea who she is. Oh, she plays Jennifer in fucking Yennefer in Witcher. Nice. But no, he's
I
actually.
don't care if her name is Yennefer. I'm gonna call her Jennifer because my ex-wife had a weird habit of calling herself Jessica, and I'm like, that's not your fucking name. Your name starts with a J. Shut up.
Well, no, her name's Jennifer in the show.
Yeah, I would still just call her Jennifer, though.
But no, yeah, he's actually a good dude. He got basically Amazon, not Amazon, Netflix basically was like, yeah, we're gonna. So he's read all of the lore for The Witcher, and then the writers went and were basically did not go with the lore. They wanted to do their own thing, which isn't a great idea on something this big as The Witcher. But unfortunately,
yeah,
Netflix was like, nope, we're gonna go with the producers. So they basically, due to creative differences, they fired Henry Cavill, and now they're gonna have Liam, fucking what's his face?
Weren't they talking about they were going to replace him and keep going with it, but then they just ended up canceling the show?
Negative. They have a new guy they're gonna have.
Oh, hey, one sec. It is far too hot for me to not have a drink. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, who the hell is the new guy? Liam Hemsworth.
Oh.
So they're replacing.
Everyone got to see my Hoochie Mama shorts. Validated it is in fact quite hot in here.
Jesus.
Which is why I'm wearing my Hoochie Mama Daisy Dukes. But because men can wear Daisy Dukes too, damn it. There's a great picture of Dale Earnhardt from way back in the day where he's shirtless and he's got little Daisy Dukes on and a cowboy hat. It's a great picture.
Jesus.
One of the fucking anarchist Dale Earnhardt pages I follow posted it, and it was like, you may not like it, but this is peak male performance right here. But anyway,
Jesus.
yeah, Thor's little brother.
Yeah, essentially they're replacing Henry Cavill with a guy that doesn't look anything like Henry Cavill.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna make up and CGI it, and it'll end up
not at all good. Especially because
everybody knows his brother is Thor, but I don't watch that bullshit. No. I've always known him as James Hunt because the first thing I ever saw him in was Rush, and he killed it in Rush.
Oh, he did great. He was a good playboy. But...
Oh, dude. Fantastic movie, Rush. I want more movies like that. Apparently, circling back to Top Gun Maverick, sorry to derail you there, but Tom Cruise is working on the development stages of Days of Thunder 2 right now. And I'm like, oh boy, I can't wait for this to be a blunder. Yeah. You know, in the original Days of Thunder, the character of Rowdy Burns, they wanted Dale Earnhardt to play him. But he was like, nah, I'm not an actor. I can't do that. So
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that there's a few.
Tom Cruise out there giving Short Kings hope every day of his life.
I know they're trying to push a lot of movies for 2 because Simon Pegg went and had a comment.
There's no original ideas left, yeah.
Because Simon Pegg had a comment of Shaun of the Dead 2 is never happening, which is good. Because there shouldn't be a sequel. It ended perfectly.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So back to this, basically, yeah. I think it'll absolutely tank because one, Henry Cavill did the work for it. He basically carried the show, in the way that even off the set, he would practice sword fighting just so he could actually do the scenes properly.
Did he get like super jacked for this show, or was he already super jacked?
Because he was Superman before this.
Oh, okay. So he had the good Hollywood trainer and those good Hollywood steroids and stuff.
Yeah, because he's been in shape for a minute.
I am, first of all, just one thing I want to put out there about superheroes in Hollywood. I am absolutely fucking tired of pretending people like Hugh Jackman don't cycle on and off of steroids when they're training to get in shape for their superhero roles. Hollywood actors fucking use steroids. The Rock uses steroids, okay?
Oh, yeah.
They all do. It's fine.
Oh,
I would too if I had access to high quality steroids and a personal trainer.
Yeah, there's definitely we've advanced that's a sector of medicine, so it's fine. Like
yeah, it's like if you had access to that and you could look like that when you're like fucking Chris Pratt's transformation.
Oh yeah, no,
he was like a fat dumpy guy on that TV show that I didn't watch, and then now he's a superhero, and he's like,
that's
fuck jacked. It's like if you had the ability to do that, with the good Hollywood steroids and the personal trainer,
big
and
old chunky to not.
Of course you would.
Yeah, you have to.
I'm not saying if I were an actor, I would ever do a superhero movie. I believe they're the lowest form of cinema possible, and I think they're all garbage. I would never do one. But
Yeah, they're
if I had
the
to get
good
in
ones
shape
are
for
very
like a
cool.
Tom Clancy film, fuck yeah, dude! Like fucking Thomas Jane actually working out and training with Navy SEALs before he did The Punisher in 2004.
Yeah,
Fantastic film, by the way. Probably the best film iteration of The Punisher ever. I'll die on this hill.
I like the earlier one before that better.
The pre Thomas Jane one
I
with
like
Dolph Lundgren
hell yeah. He lives in the sewer. It's fucking wild.
and Louis Gossett Jr. of Iron Eagle fame.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
You know how many Iron Eagle movies there are about this one fucking teenager flying jets? There's at least 4 of them, dude. I remember watching them fucking. This is way back when I still lived at home, and fucking we had like all the cable channels, like before like torrenting and shit were really big. I think at one point it wasn't IFC, but like maybe Encore or somebody played like all of the Iron Eagle films like in order, and I just watched all of them, and that was like
Jesus.
it was like Top Gun came out and was huge, and it was like everybody needs to like make a jet movie now, and Iron Eagle was like we can do like B-level jet movies, and we're gonna make like 6 of them, and I think they only made 4. I'm not sure. Look that up real quick. Iron Eagle. Yeah. They made, I don't know how many of those they made, but the quality dropped off substantially as they kept making them.
Well, yeah, that's about how it goes.
Yeah.
Compared to Top Gun.
Yeah. It's not quite Top Gun. It's the land of make believe pretty hardcore. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and 4. Iron Eagle.
Yeah, they did
Oh.
make 4. Yeah.
Jeez. Direct to video. That's how you know it's gonna be bad.
Well, hey, back then, direct to video was a market, man. There wasn't Netflix. You had Blockbuster, and people rented a movie fucking
yeah.
weekly, bro. Like,
No, yeah.
direct to video, like, oh, it must be a piece of shit. Like, no, dude, direct to video was a market back then. There were 3 Smokey and the Bandit movies after the original trilogy made in the 90s that were all direct to video. None of them star anybody from the originals.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is that typically if it's direct to video, it's not going to be as high quality as
They were actually pretty crap though. The Bandit drove a 3000 GT. This is weird. It's like weird. The Bandit had a Japanese car.
All right then.
Wasn't anything special about it. It was just black.
Interesting.
Yeah. I've been on a jet thing lately because Steam Summer Sale. I got a couple jet games, and I've been fully addicted to the high stakes crack that is air combat and dogfighting in incredibly perhaps too maneuverable jet fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Been doing what we call post-stall maneuvers like the Cobra, the Colbit, and the pedal turn, and they're incredibly difficult to execute, especially in an online lobby where I'm probably just going to get smoked before I can even enter the battle.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. But no, that's been fun. That was fun for a little bit, but yeah. Anyway, circling around, keeping it in the realm of video games. We already talked about CD Projekt Red. I'm still hyped for Phantom Liberty. There's all this talk about the 2.0 update that basically remakes the whole game. There's shit added. There's a ton of stuff added, apparently. Like, how big is this fucking DLC going to be that it remakes the whole game, you know? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
How much of the original code of Cyberpunk 2077 is now just dead code that does nothing?
That's going to be something that modders are going to have to find out after the DLC comes out.
Yeah. How much have you heard about it lately? I've just been seeing videos about it on YouTube, and I haven't been watching them.
I haven't been paying attention just because
They're all like shit garbage videos. They're like, is Idris Elba Morgan Blackhand? It's like, no, he isn't. Read one of the goddamn books, preferably the Solo's Manual by Morgan Blackhand.
Yeah,
Morgan Blackhand's an old white guy with like silver hair. Like,
there's, there are a lot of those, but no, I just haven't been watching them just because I don't really. With as much stuff as there is about it, I'm sure there's gonna be spoilers somewhere. and it's just easier to avoid everything and just kind of get surprised because it is going to be coming out in a few months. So, uh,
September, yeah.
yes.
So there's that and Payday 3 in September, both of which I've already paid for and I'm just waiting on.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, the other big place to get news for Cyberpunk is Reddit, but right now with the
The Reddit
Reddit,
blackout.
yeah. So right now, Cyberpunk, the subreddit for Cyberpunk, has been making to combat advertisements and basically the money that Reddit makes off that subreddit. They've been making every single post not safe for work.
Ah.
But basically, I think it was 2 days ago, they actually got contacted by the moderator, not the moderators, but the people above them, saying, "Hey,
Forum admins, yeah.
if you don't, stop, we're gonna remove you from your moderating post." And yeah, so they're like, so they took a,
Oh, so what you want is zero moderation in this forum. We can do
so,
that.
well, yeah, basically, they went and took a poll, like, "Hey, do you want us to stop, or do you want us to go out swinging?" As in, all right, we will make everything not safe for work, but we will show full in-game genitalia. And of
Yeah.
course, everyone voted for the second one.
It
So
will be nothing but Rule 34 porn of Cyberpunk.
yes, it's well. I mean, they don't even need to make artwork of it. They just need to take screenshots of in-game footage. So it's been a lot of in-game genitalia.
Just in-game dick flopping while you jump. Just
Yes.
whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Which it
That.
does, by the way. I had to check it out for myself. Your dick does flop when you jump around naked in Cyberpunk. It's pretty funny.
So.
Penis number 2.
Jesus. Yeah. So there's a lot to that. Otherwise, it's just kind of waiting. Just
I
because.
remember all the hype around that. Yeah, fully customizable in-game genitalia. It's like we had penis 1 and penis 2. What the fuck are you talking about fully customizable? We had 2
Yeah.
options.
I People were probably expecting to be more like Conan Exiles, where you had a slider.
That's a game that's disappeared.
It's
It was
still
in. It
around.
was in. It was like there's a lot of games that have like entered the YouTuber sphere that like the cultural zeitgeist for a little bit and then quickly disappeared again. Remember the Culling? Was it the Culling? Culling was like a hand-to-hand battle royale game, basically. Like prisoners get dropped on a tropical island or something, and they all got a
Mm-hmm.
battle royale, and then like that game was cool for like a month, and then it's gone. Yeah.
uh, yeah, they actually just released the another DLC for Conan Exiles. Age of War came out end of June. So
I just haven't seen anybody that I follow playing it or anything.
yeah, it's one of those games that you really need a bunch of people to play with. So if it's a YouTuber that plays by themselves, typically they're not gonna play it.
Yeah. The Noli with 2Ks.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing a lot of Payday 3 content lately because he's one of the actual YouTubers who got invited to Starbreeze to play Payday 3 in the demo.
Okay.
He was doing a live stream the other day, and I was actually asking some questions in there. I was like, "Hey, are the AI still like fully useless aside from just shooting at cops?" And he's like, "Yeah, pretty much. They can't like pick up bags on their own or like bag
Yeah.
money or fix the drill or anything." I was like, "Why can they not implement like the most basic AI to like I can tell chains to go fix the drill? You know,
That would be
like
nice
it would
because
be awesome." But yeah,
even because I was playing Payday 2 yesterday and I was doing the
it,
yacht.
it it got some more updates in the new heist, but I think multiplayer is still broken.
So I ended up playing the yacht heist and I beat it a few times. And then I was literally doing the final state, like step, where you have to get the hard drive on the yacht heist. And I got slightly seen by a guy in the way that I needed to do the comms, the
Mm-hmm.
pager. And I failed the whole mission because, and I quote, the the security guard didn't believe your comms answer.
Yeah, but like what guard? Like
I don't.
if you've killed all but one of them and then one sees you but you kill him, like well,
So
it's not answering to anybody. I mean,
I was just more taken aback by the fact that you can
that's a
fail.
reason you can fail.
You can
Yeah.
fail a pager check just based on the like. There was nothing I could have done. because I answered it. It just he didn't believe it. So then the alarm went off, and then I had 20 seconds, which wasn't enough time. So
Yeah, to bail out.
it was unfortunate. But so we'll see if they fix that system because that was kind of dog shit. Because like I use mods because I don't like stealth. So even without stealth, like if I had done everything and then gotten to the very end and that had happened, I would have been even more frustrated because it would have taken astronomically longer.
Yeah, there is a mod out there or two that I've seen. I don't know if they work, but they just turn stealth off completely. You can just walk right past guards and they don't see you.
Oh, Jesus.
You just like walk around completing the heist. Just it's just a fetch quest at that point. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I don't know
yeah.
if I'd do that. I mean, even the one I'm doing that
But at
kind
that point,
of.
only if you're like, I'm achievement hunting now because I want
Yeah.
like the 1,000 achievements armor, which I'm currently trying to get, or like I want to get all the achievements because I'm not going to bother translating the Kataru language to find out what 20 specifically I need to do to be able to do the White House secret, which
Mm.
I'm really sad that I will never be able to complete the White House secret because you have to do it with 4 human players who have also done all of the steps necessary to complete the White House secret.
Mm.
So I will have to have done it and collected all those items in the safe house, put them together in the right order,
Mm-hmm.
done the diamond thing to the manuscript, the Kegley manuscript,
Mm-hmm.
to burn it to where it just says guide, and then shot all the right piano keys on Scarface's piano to play the song that makes it resonate, and then it displays in Kataru language 20 different achievements you have to get in game to be able to do the White House secret, and then you have to do all those. So I am well aware that unless I like go on Reddit and like recruit 4 people to help me do it, I will
Yeah.
never. Because even doing the White House secret, it would be difficult
Yeah.
because you need 4 human players, but you go into the vault under the White House and you have to real time translate while fighting off tomb guardians, which are basically reskinned cloakers on like
Yeah.
the overkill difficulty, uh, and translate these big ring puzzles and then answer them by pulling different levers. And like if you got to do it like 4 times, and if you get one wrong, you got to start over. So it's like that's just an excessive amount of work to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I'd settle for if they fix multiplayer. I think you, me, and the boys can do overdrill.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't be hard. We just got to stand in certain spots in First World Bank, wait for the light to start blinking, and then we can go set up the drill that takes 32 real world minutes to drill through the grate. And then we get like 90 million in Mayan gold, which the Mayan gold makes a comeback in the White House secret because you
Mm-hmm.
use it to fix the body switcher machine under the White House so Bane cannot die and become the president instead of. So when you finish the White House in campaign mode, you unlock the cinematic called The End, where it's Bane's funeral in Mexico and everybody
Mm.
throws their masks in the grave and then everybody quits. But that's not
Yeah.
the true canon
Yeah. Oh
ending of
yeah.
Payday 2. Yeah,
Yeah. I remember the canon
you
ending.
yeah you've seen the lore. Payday ending is Bane becomes the president by body switching, and then the crew retires and they've got their big ass yacht and they're all on the beach and shit. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Because Bane ends up writing them basically like a you're forgiven sort of
yeah.
shit.
Well, they steal the pardons still,
Yeah.
but
It helps,
um,
having the actual president, do it too.
yeah, but yeah, but yeah, I'd settle for just being able to do that. But yeah, I think if they don't fix multiplayer, then I'm never gonna be able to do that because once again, you need 4 human people to do overdrill because the
Yeah.
bots you can't make the bots stand in place.
Yeah. Yeah, which is really frustrating just because it's one of
Yeah,
those things that you can't do anything about.
yeah, dude, the most basic AI implementation, just the most basic. Let me give them like Fallout New Vegas had like AI commands you could give
Yeah.
your AI. I don't
Yeah.
know how well they do them, but like, you can tell them to do stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, they would have various things that they could do.
And I understand there were limitations to the the diesel engine, but with Payday 3, I don't understand why they haven't improved
Fixed.
the game in that way. It's Unreal
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, they definitely should have fixed it just because it's it's a new game. Like, yeah, it's only $40, but it is a
Yeah,
new game.
it's a brand new game. I expect it to have like 2023 video game features.
Yeah, niceties because it's
Yeah. Granted, it's not, it's never going to be like a cover shooter like a fucking 7th gen Rockstar game, which is
no,
fine because it's not in
which
the rage. Rockstar's really got an engine, pretty much everybody's going to Unreal and shit, but Rockstar's Rage engine, ever since
no,
Max Payne 3, like,
no.
they've had allegedly they're doing they themselves not farming it out to some third party. So hopefully it won't be a trilogy
Hmm.
disaster situation. They're going to be doing a remaster of the first Red Dead Redemption.
Hmm.
I
Yeah, I
think
was
the
hearing about
best
that.
way for them to do that, and the only proper, correct way to do it, is to implement it as a large DLC into Red Dead Redemption 2,
Yeah,
so that it can pick up in place where it's supposed to be after the epilogue at the end of the game.
that's the thing
Yeah.
is to charge the $70 that it would for a full thing. They'd have to go and remaster the full game, or technically not remaster. They have to remake the game and then do
Well,
add a lot of
that's the thing.
content.
They don't really, because the entire map and everything in it from one was already built into Red Dead 2. It was just an inaccessible part of the game
Hmm.
until the epilogue.
Yeah, no,
Because in the
that's
epilogue, Arthur dies. Spoiler, whatever. The game's like 9 years old now or something.
yeah.
You end up playing as John. You end up finding out how John came to have this ranch in Beecher's Hope, and you like buy it, and then you build the house, and you take out bank loans and shit. And
Yeah.
it sets up to leave off like 3 years before Red Dead Redemption 1 starts. So they could do it.
Hmm.
They could add a big ass Red Dead Redemption 1 size DLC, second game, whatever, right there.
Yeah.
That it just picks up right there, and now you've got a twice the length game. Just implement all the new, because the whole map, everything, it's all there.
Hmm. Will they? Probably not.
They probably won't do it right now, but
I mean, uh,
my hope is that they would.
no, yeah, you always hope, but
They've got the money to do it.
no, yeah. I mean,
They've been a
that's
goddamn money printer for GTA Online for fucking five ever. It doesn't cost anywhere near as much money as they make on that shit to maintain it.
which right now I know a lot of fans are mad about that Rockstar for GTA Online because they removed over 100, almost 200 cars from the online community.
Remove them like you
Deleted the
can't buy
files.
them in game anymore, or like
Yes.
remove them like if you owned this car, it's gone now.
Uh, that I don't know. I'd have to look.
That is some shit that would piss me off if it's like, hey, I fucking I've owned this for years. This is the only car I like driving, whatever. Like, how would you remove it and take it away from me? That's fucked up. But if like they just made it so you can't buy this car anymore, like, well, that's okay.
So it also removes over 180 cars, and motorcycles from in-game stores.
Okay.
Let's see, but where?
So they just
Discover,
it says they're removed from
making
stores.
them impossible to purchase if you don't already have them unlocked.
Okay, well that's not as bad.
It's not as bad, but it's still pretty bad because it's
But yeah, it's still fucked up because now it creates an an exclusivity problem. It's like, well, now I have no way to get this thing that I wanted. Like, well, why would I play GTA Online then? Like, I
yeah,
have some cool cars in GTA Online from when I played it. I have a 49 Mercury. I have my 70 Camaro. I have an IROC, and I think I have like a 90s Firebird, which again, they were never licensed vehicles. They looked close enough, which I'm sure that's probably why they had to remove some of them, is they maybe possibly like got into some legal trouble with, hey, you can't just put a Countach in GTA Online. Like, we have to pay licensing for that. Like, no, it's okay. We changed the headlights. Like, yeah, Lamborghini doesn't care. They're going to sue us. So they're like, okay, well,
yeah.
we'll remove it. Like,
Huh? There you go. They protest Reddit by posting nudes. Yeah, so I don't know. It's very interesting. Um, Not my thing. I don't really care that much, just because it's
yeah.
they're another one.
It's cool in how much content there is in GTA Online. The problem is I don't want to play it because it's an online experience, and I don't want to play that. I don't want to like try and do a mission and be like in the mission cinematic and like some asshole flies by in a jet and carpet bombs me and it's like, well, you failed. Like, well, I didn't even get to try because this is online and it's AIDS and I hate this.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're gonna get griefed by people on an online game like that.
If the amount of content that has been in GTA Online over the past 13 years somehow ends up in like GTA 6, which who even knows if that's going to be out. I heard a rumor it was about Claude and Catalina from 3, but it was before they got to Liberty City, so it's going to be like late 90s but Vice City. And I'm like, maybe. That's the thing is like there's going to be two protagonists. They're going to be a male and a female. It's like, well, Claude and Catalina did go on like a countrywide crime spree before they got to Liberty City after they left San Andreas. So maybe it is about them. Don't know.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, it's probably a good few years off yet still.
I would think so, yeah. I don't think we're going to like see a trailer, this Christmas or anything.
Maybe next year's E3, maybe.
And if there's an E3.
Yeah, because like this year's was apparently canceled. So, yeah, I don't know. It's video games overall are just a weird place right now because
we are in a weird place with video. We're not in a good place with video games. Yeah, but we are in a weird place.
Because I've talked to people about it at work, and that it's not a better place than it used to be, in that we are charging more for video games, and the only thing that's really changed isn't really most of the times even the length. It's just the graphics, and that's what
graphical fidelity. We've killed that. Quality everywhere else we've not killed that. It's gone down because it's not as good as it used to be.
Even looking at, because that's the thing is, you look at a lot of the more highly reviewed games that have come out in the last few years, and a lot of them are the indie kind of games. Blasphemous, Hollow Knight, Undertale, all of those are indie games. They did very well. Yeah. They were, $30, which is half the price, even less than half the price nowadays. Don't have great graphics, but they have a good story. But then we have nowadays the big game that even amongst some of our friends is Starfield, which is a 4K game that is frame locked to 30 FPS, because of basically it is so pretty that they
did their Bethesda shit again, didn't they? Is the frame rate tied to the physics engine?
I don't think so. I just think that it's because
if you played it at 120 frames, would you be moving at 4 times speed? Is that what's up with it?
No, it's not because that was them trying to make a single player engine work multiplayer. This is them basically the Xbox can't handle being any higher than 30. So instead of making the game look
we gotta cater to the Xbox.
So, yeah, that's because it's only getting released on PC and Xbox. So instead of them going and doing it to make it the world a little bit uglier, they're going to go and basically reduce the FPS. That is against mine, and that's one of the reasons I won't buy it, amongst others. Not only including the fact that they announced that a lot of the worlds will be procedurally generated, which isn't good for storytelling, because if you procedurally generate planets and you have no way of telling which planets are story driven, then you have to figure out, and that can go and make a game last forever, which is not a good thing. Yeah. On top of the fact that they already stated a lot of the worlds will be not have and like non-playable characters, or just even wildlife. They're gonna have vegetation and that kind of stuff, but some of the planets will be dead.
And it'll just be barren, empty planets.
Yes.
Like, what can I do here? Pretty much nothing. Oh,
and cool. Having seen
why is it here?
Yeah, and having seen what they've done with Fallout 4, and that the empty places that they do, they can look pretty, but I don't care. There's nothing to do there.
What's the point of a beautiful empty space?
So it's already going to be a hard pass for me, just based on those basically announcements of the game.
Hey, Phasmo episode 2 has 25 views. Go us.
Oh yeah. So yes, the modding community might fix it, but also they might not, because if you look at Fallout 4, the amount of mods, because of the stability of the Fallout 4 engine, is a lot less stable somehow than the New Vegas engine. It is it might actually be harder for people to
I
mod
never
the
thought
game.
we'd see the day when we referred to the New Vegas engine as stable, more that let alone more stable than a different game engine.
Yes, and I mean that's even for people that
Good
you
old
know.
Havoc.
Yeah. Even for people that would state, oh, you guys don't play, New Vegas or Fallout 4. Yes, but the big YouTuber I do watch, Mike Burnfire. Uh,
I've played the hell out of New Vegas in my lifetime. I've never done it like for the channel, but like I've
um,
2,000 hours into New Vegas in my lifetime on multiple platforms.
but I mean
I
that's
suffered
like,
through that game on the PS3 when it would crash every 9 minutes.
but I mean for like they have never seen us, so
Yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
so Mike Burnfire
I
does
wrote
have
some of the New Vegas wiki. Fuck off.
Jesus. But Mike
Love that
Burnfire
game.
has done multiple videos, and they have talked about how inaccessible it is to mod Fallout 4 just because of the engine stability.
Yeah,
That was
yeah. Um,
weird. But yeah, so it's if it does get worse, then that's definitely going to hinder people because they're not going to want to play a game that they can't. What's going on? Somebody has my hard drive. But
I don't hear. Occasionally, what I hear on your end is it what sounds like metal vibrating, but I think that's just the supports under your table from when you move around. So I don't know. I don't hear anything right now though. If your hard drive's
Jesus,
making noise or something.
my movie's hard drive.
Ah,
233. Let's fucking make sure I get that shit. But yeah. So it's we'll see. I mean, I'm not gonna expect Bethesda to utilize Unreal Engine 5 because they typically like to build their own engine, which isn't always for the best.
they should stop doing that. They're not very good at it.
Yes,
They
they
are
should.
they are not like Rockstar. They don't have a rage. You
No,
know, it's like
oh, that's it's also it's just it's illogical because
yeah, it costs a lot more money to
yes,
develop your own engine than to just license Unreal.
and that's the
And
thing
Unreal's
is,
a robust, badass engine. It's got amazing
and
features.
that's
Like
part of
just
the reason that Skyrim
yeah.
is taking as long, or the new Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 6, is taking as long as it is, which it's already been announced that yes, they did release a trailer. I don't know how many years ago. It's still in pre-production. It hasn't even started. It will not come out probably this decade, and
What do
that's
you think's
sad
gonna come out
because
first? The next Elder Scrolls game or the next Half-Life game?
uh, I would probably go with Elder Scrolls just because Half Life 3 is never going to come out.
You think the bar's so high for Half-Life 3 that that's the
Yes.
reason it'll never come out?
Yes. I think that even Gabe is smart enough to realize that it doesn't matter how good it is, it would never
No,
live up to the
no
hype.
matter what he released now, it would be shit
Yeah.
in the eyes of people. Yeah. Which
Um,
man, if you go back and look like Half-Life 1, like that's hard to look at now, man. But
yeah, but they
that
did
did,
release the
it,
remake.
that did create the formula for modern gaming,
Yes.
especially in an FPS. Like the games weren't intuitive. You couldn't like figure out a game
Yeah.
until like Half-Life 1 made it like okay, this is how a first person shooter is supposed to be. Like these are the controls. This is the way you navigate through the world. Like yeah.
Yeah, that was a much different time where even if you look ahead of Half Life 1
Oh
to
dude, it was like
PS2,
1998.
so PS2 games are still figuring out the formula for
Yeah.
first person shooters, but even if you Half Life One, the world it created was phenomenal. It did
Yeah.
so well that a team went and spent, I believe it was close to a decade, remaking Half Life One into a actually
Yeah.
considered
Black
by
Mesa.
they consider it superior to the actual game, in that the developers would rather play that than the game they made because of how good it not only looks but how great it plays.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I've watched. It was a really long documentary about Half Life One and the journey of creating Black Mesa and how they looked at the original design philosophy of Half-Life 1 while they were making Black Mesa. And they're like, okay, so we're not just retexturing an old game. We are making an entirely new game here with a different engine and everything. But how can we adopt this same formula and do as good a job telling the same story, by adding parts like the whole new world and the Zen that they had to create and everything. And they're like, how can we still do the like show, don't tell, and teach you this is how you do that, and then now to do this when you see these and stuff. And that was a really good, like a 2-hour YouTube video I checked out one day.
Yeah, that's the thing. The game did so many things right that it's hard to live up to, which is why I don't believe any game can positively be compared to Half Life. Because even if you look at the same world,
I think it can. I don't even think Half-Life 2 was that great.
I think Half Life 2 is the Return to Stockholm or Ravenholm did fantastic with horror and the way that it introduced a really good idea for horror. So I believe that definitely did. Now, do I like the ending? Not so much. There are definitely flaws to the game, but that's fine. I don't believe there are any truly perfect games anymore.
I think there's probably two that come close. I maybe it's just nostalgia or recency bias because I've actually played back through it again recently. But Red Dead Redemption 2 really is fantastic. I mean, there is almost to the point of there's too much to do in it. There's so many things to do, and the map is so vast and everything. But yeah, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is good, not just in terms of graphical fidelity, scope, intuitive, very fluid feeling controls, really solid feeling gunplay. It's not a hit scan kind of shooter. It's not like you can play it like a cover shooter, but I mean these are kind of turn of the last century weapons here, and they feel like that, like the revolvers and stuff. They feel heavy and weighty, and you get not an unrealistic, but like a noticeable amount of like bullet travel because like these are big, slow bullets. They're not like they are now. They're the gun. We didn't really figure gunpowder out that well. We thought we had, but technology's come so long. We know we didn't. The horse controls are good. But even like in storytelling elements and the way that, you can grow out Arthur's beard to be like that long and then, or trim it or whatever. And like, he can get fat and skinny, which I've actually recently found out. Not a lot of people knew that you could like make Arthur fat in Red Dead 2. Like you could overfeed him like just a ton and sleep a lot and like, he would get fat. And people would comment on it and be like, hey, you're putting on a lot of weight, Arthur. But yeah, no, I think it was a really well done, excellent game, and it's sucks so much to me that really the only people who have carried through forward from the like PS2 era of like trying to make the best game you can as just even as single player. I paid $60 for this, I want the full experience kind of narrative has been Rockstar, because they're the only ones who can really still do it so well, and they don't. Like before Red Dead 2, the last real like awesome like story driven like, awesome narrative thing like they did was like L.A. Noire, and then they just gave up on that.
Yeah,
they had a killer game in Max Payne 3, and understandably they abandoned that because like, well, Max's story is over.
Yeah,
you can't really you could redo the first two games in the new Rage engine and everything, but I mean they'd be kind of short,
You'd have to completely redo
nowadays,
the story.
yeah. And also, I don't think I know they own licensing rights to Max Payne, but I don't know if they own the intellectual property. I think that might still belong to Remedy because they created Max Payne 1 and then Take-Two published it, and then Rockstar bought licensing for Max Payne 2 and everything. But yeah, and it just sucks that Rockstar used to make so many cool games. They made The Warriors, they made Manhunt, they made Bully.
Yeah,
they made LA Noire.
That's the same.
They did Max Payne, and like now all they do is GTA Online, and really, even that, like they haven't. It's been 13 years since we had a Grand Theft Auto game.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same though, even with the Bethesda games, because you look at Skyrim came out 2011. If you look back at when Oblivion came out in what 2006.
I remember that Skyrim came out in 2011. I think, a freshman. No, no, Skyrim came out before 2011. It had
2011.
to.
11, 11, 11.
2011. I graduated high school in 2011. I feel like it was out before that.
I will pull it up. I remember because I was at a concert that night and I came home to play it.
I know my buddy Tyler Poling was big hype for like a lot of high school about Skyrim.
2011, 11.
Damn.
Hmm. Yeah.
Huh.
And then if you look at, so we'll go down to the bottom. So the Elder Scrolls series. So we'll go back to Oblivion. Oblivion came out in 2006. So that's 5 years between. And then you have to remember that in between these, in 2009, they made Fallout 3. So
Did it come out in 09? Because I feel like New Vegas came out in 09.
pretty sure it's 09.
I feel like New Vegas was out before Skyrim.
2008.
Sure.
Okay, so 2008.
Okay.
October. So then
When the hell did New Vegas come out?
2010.
Okay.
So we're both.
Maybe I'm thinking of New Vegas for high school then, because it was definitely in high school that I discovered the Fallout series, because I'd never heard of it or played it, and then one of my buddies let me borrow Fallout 3, and I played it, and I was like, wow, this is neat. I like this style of game. And then New Vegas came out, and I was like, I'm buying this. Yeah, I, like an idiot, suffered through it on the PS3 because I didn't have a PC then. And
yeah. But I mean,
Fallout New
that's the thing.
Vegas on the PS3 is just the stuff of nightmares.
So, like, if you look at that, like, Oblivion came out in 2006. Then they released Fallout 3 in 2008. Then they licensed it out to Obsidian for 2010. And then 2011, they released Skyrim. But since then, they've done Fallout 4, which was 2015. So 4 years. Already a longer period of time. And then since then, they have not done anything. Because Fallout 76 was published out, so I do not count that. So, since then, they have not done anything. Because I don't also count Blades, because that's a free-to-play, phone game.
It's a phone game? Why do people make phone games?
So, like, yeah, Android and Switch. So, yep. So I don't count those. So they have done absolutely nothing. Like,
Fuck, it's hot.
So it's
yeah.
So
I want to do a deep dive before we do another one of these on the canceled Rockstar projects from around the time that, like, I'm not 100% on release schedules, but I remember I think LA Noire came out after Grand Theft Auto 4, and there was a whole host of projects they were in development on in between, like LA Noire and like Grand Theft Auto 5, and it's like after 5 came out, they just abandoned like 9 different games.
Yeah.
There was like a Cold War spy game they were working on that I remember hearing about, and then it's like, yeah, it's just man. And I can't even remember the other shit they were working on developing that they just stopped working on everything. They just quit.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they just quit.
It's a lot of it is just, I'm sure, based on, them figuring out, like, okay, this might not sell. They probably did some polls and stuff like that. They probably started making it, and then they realized that, they just didn't want to do it, so.
They used to not care about shit like that. I mean, they made games like Manhunt and Bully. Very, very controversial games that were not popular.
That's the thing is, a lot of them just... game development as a whole has changed.
They made a skateboarding game in the 90s.
I mean, there was a bunch of skateboarding games back then.
Well, after Tony Hawk, yeah, there were a lot. But, I mean, this was pre-Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1. Rockstar Games made a skateboarding game.
Mm-hmm. So
I can't remember what it was called, but yeah.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of interesting games.
I might have done a YouTube video about Rockstar Games' dead projects.
Overall, as a whole, I don't believe we've advanced any better If anything, we've gone worse just because of the acquisitions that have been done by major companies.
Yeah,
Um,
a lot of companies that used to be
Independent.
powerhouses in the industry while being independent are now under larger umbrellas, and the 2008 financial crisis, whatever. But I mean,
It's just a very unfortunate thing, just because with them being bought out, their creative freedom does go out the window. That's how you have games like Fear 3, where they essentially got the developer, not even the developer, it was the people above him, them, went and pushed for, hey, we like Halo, or we like Halo and Call of Duty. Make your game like Call of Duty and Halo. And it was like, Fear
yeah,
isn't like that. Well,
yeah.
and then they,
Fear is not like Call of Duty or Halo. Fear was an
so
atmospheric horror game.
so they went and they had to make Fear 3 into a, action shooter with, horror on the back burner. So it went, you
Yeah.
can tell because it tanked. It did not do good. Um, and that's just a,
Dude, I forgot about Midnight Club. Rockstar Games had probably at the time, I would say even arguably bigger than Need for Speed in terms of like market share racing game franchise. And that's another one that's just
yeah,
abandoned.
yeah,
They just stopped making them.
yep. Yeah, that's the thing
What the
is,
fuck?
it's just, companies figured out what they've kind of become lazy. I'll say it, just because it, it feels absolutely true nowadays because it's just so bland. Because I've even
I want to believe it's not that, and at least on some level they would keep making games in their franchise because, like, why do you get into making video games? It's because you want to make video games, right? And it's like,
yeah, but that's the thing. People become jaded because you got to think about, like, people join. I mean, I know some people in the military. Were very passionate about their job, and then they just got beaten down by bosses, and then they just didn't stop giving a shit. It's probably the same thing there too,
yeah,
because it's just
maybe.
there's so few games anymore that have really done well. Like a lot of the big games, even for me, my favorite game that's come out this year has been Fall or Resident Evil 4 remake. That's a remake of an old game from like 2006.
How
Like,
much of that's nostalgia, though? How much of that is
uh,
you feeling like it is 2006 again, at least a little bit when you play it?
I've never played Resident Evil 4. I've only watched others play it, so I can't say there's too much nostalgia there. For me,
Personally, I never played it either, but even in watching other people play it, I'm transported back to a time when I know that it was popular and a lot of
yeah,
old YouTubers who like don't exist anymore like were playing it. Like I'm gonna throw a name out there, like SSOHPKC. Like I don't know
yeah,
whatever happened to that dude, but he used to be all over YouTube. If there was a game that came out, I'm pretty sure he did like a 94 episode playthrough of it, and
yeah,
I probably watched it because I had nothing fucking else to do, sitting at home
yeah,
in Ohio with no money and no friends.
yeah.
Go on YouTube. I
So
can't buy
it's
this video game, but I can watch Seamus play it.
so it's definitely, there's probably some nostalgia, which is why so many remakes are being made anymore, is because lack of creativity, and then just nostalgia because it's an easy sell for a lot of people. Um, I believe that will probably continue to happen. Honestly, I hope so for some of my games that I do like that were on the PS2 and are no longer playable for various reasons. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, I'm glad that Square. Uh, God, I can't think of their name. Not Square Enix. That's Final Fantasy. Capcom. I'm glad Capcom has done very good remakes because Resident Evil 2 was fantastic. Resident Evil 3 was meh, but Resident Evil 4 knocked it out of the park. I know they're working on the DLC, and it's actually probably in the next few months because they've actually released the achievements for it on Steam.
I remember, I think, watching you play through three in the apartment, and the only thing I really remember about three is Jill's butt and how the camera would go right up into Jill's butt every time you crawled through anything.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
hell yeah, fan service. All right.
Yeah, that was basically the only reason they did that.
Yeah.
But
Apparently, Rockstar Games has a medieval project that's going to be coming out soon, and I'm
hmm,
like, well, that's entirely different from
everything.
everything you've ever done, and probably not at all what any of your fans want. We kind of just want RIP that we cherish to either be continued or come back. Granted, with LA Noire, that was a very single narrative, and that was a pretty individual story that you told there. But like, they did a fucking great job making a detective game. I would love for them to make another detective game where I got to investigate things because that, even if there wasn't some grand conspiracy to uncover, like it would be really cool to just play an LA Noire like game.
Mm-hmm. Is it this medieval?
No, that's old as hell.
I was like, they did remake it in 2019, but I was
Yeah,
like,
that was awful though.
I didn't think that was Rockstar.
I played Medieval 2 on the PS1 a long time ago, but no, they've got a Rockstar Games. It's just called Medieval Project
Interesting.
or Project Medieval by Rockstar Games.
Yeah, I don't even see. New Max Payne 1 and 2 project.
Oh, so they're probably or that it says Remedy right there. So
Well, they're
maybe
probably
in association with Remedy, they're probably going
yeah,
to do a remaster of that.
they're probably
Hopefully released
publishing
as
it.
a single game because the two of them together would be about the length of a modern AAA game. But like
Yeah,
they're pretty short by modern standards.
yeah.
Also, they were hard, dude. Max Payne was hard.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember watching someone play it, and it was a lot of
It's
jumping.
it's hard.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. It's like I don't know. Overall, games are just in a different spot. Um,
Yeah, they announced that a new remaster project was going to be coming up soon, and I think everybody immediately hoped that like it would be Red Dead Redemption because of like the success of 2, which Jesus, that's like 6 years ago now actually.
2018. Yeah, five,
Yeah,
almost five.
that goddamn. Oh, is it 18? I'd look like a 6 because it's super small for me. But anyway, yeah, no, that's 5 years ago that game came out, but like what? And it's still pretty much unchanged game since launch, and it's still a wonderful, fantastic game. There aren't any bugs that I've experienced with it ever.
Mm-hmm.
It runs amazingly well with like beautiful settings on low end hardware like my laptop. Like it's.
Yeah, we need to get you a Stadia that way you can review it on Stadia.
I don't want to. Isn't Stadia abandonware?
Yeah, it's good.
It's like, what do you mean give me a Stadia? They don't make Stadias anymore.
Yeah, we can
I'm
find
not
one.
about
Don't
to
worry.
pay for one.
We're gonna find you one. Don't worry.
Now Miller needs to get on giving me all that PC shit so I can. Well, I don't have the money for a fucking GPU or a storage right now. Anyway, I gotta wait till school starts up again and I start making money again. Then I'm gonna just like forego shit. I'm just gonna like not pay the gas bill for 2 months and buy a GPU. I'm just gonna only eat ramen for like 4 months and buy a bunch of hard drives.
We literally talked about being fiscally responsible earlier in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, right now it is 87 degrees in here at almost midnight, so I think I can not pay the gas bill to have heat for like 3 months. I think I'll be okay.
Jesus. Oh, so I gotta go and start looking at motorcycle gear because I went and I finally found. So for Okinawa, there's only one place to go and get your motorcycle license. You have to go through a basic rider's course on
BRC.
on Camp Cadena. But the amount of legwork I had to do, I felt like an investigator just trying to find out anything because they give you a number.
Yeah,
a DSN number.
Just hate when someone who's like got an appointed collateral in the military is completely fucking incapable of doing it. Like somebody there should be the motorcycle coordinator, and I bet he just doesn't fucking know anything about it.
Our command, there is a guy. We do have a coordinator that's supposed to be a point of contact, but he does not ride a motorcycle, and so the only thing he could tell me was you have to own your own motorcycle to take this class, and I was very concerned because that sounds illegal because to go and buy a vehicle, you are supposed to have a license, you're supposed to have insurance, and you're supposed to have register on base. All of which you should need a license for. So I did not believe him.
Sounds misinformed.
So I went and I did the research and I found the phone number. I called it for a few weeks, not getting an answer. So I went. I finally, after a lot of research, I found the building it's actually at. So it's not even in its own motorcycle building. It's in a safety building, annex building on Kadena that has its own office. So I went in there today and I talked to him and I was like, "Look, I've been told this. Like, I don't believe that's true." And he's like, "Oh no, no, yeah, you need to either rent one or buy one, uh, because
You know what I might be able to do to help you out is I could bump Senior Smith on this, and I know absolutely that he would either A, know who to talk to already because he knows everybody, or B, he would like track on this and get you some answers like
well,
quickly.
so I went and found the guy and I finally talked to him, and essentially you do need to buy it because essentially they for some reason I don't know who decided it was a great idea. They sold all their loaner bikes. And the only thing this dude could tell me was, yeah, it was because we kept having these people take this 2 day class, and then we certify them, and they get their license, and then when the commands would call and be like, yeah, where's all these riders at? We'd be like, look, they took the course, like we can't make them buy a bike. So I'm assuming it's some bullshit, politics.
What do you
So that's why I'm
what do you
confused.
mean they can't make them? But were they selling bikes to people? Was the Navy
No,
doing this? Like what?
that's why I'm like I don't understand why it matters because like this is a service. This isn't
Oh,
something
people
that
were just taking the class just to take the class and then not buying motorcycles and
yeah
ever riding them. They were
yeah
just getting their license
yeah
because.
like to probably figure out if they like
Okay, well
motorcycles.
that's still it's being of service. People
Yeah
want to take the class, they're taking it. Like
yeah. So I
what?
don't understand what was the problem, but apparently it was a big problem for the Navy because they need a problem. It wasn't even, I don't even think it was the Navy. It would have been just whoever, Marine Corps, Air Force.
Some guy,
So
some guy got to stick up his ass.
so basically his thing was look, you can absolutely buy a motorcycle as long as you pay, buy it outright. And then if you buy it from a certain shop, they will deliver it on base. Just have them deliver it here for the class. And then once you're done the class, because it's a 2 day class, then you will have your license. Then you can go and do all the stuff. So as much as I don't want to do that, I probably will do that just because it's.
Before you do that, I recommend while the Steam Summer Sale is still going on, buy Ride 3.
Hmm,
Don't get Ride 4. I just bought Ride 4, and to me, it's not as good as Ride 3.
hmm,
And Ride 3, with all the DLC, will be still cheaper than Ride 4, probably, and it
hmm.
has so many bikes in it.
Yeah.
And not just like bikes that we got in America, but like
Hmm,
it's got so many like Asia only bikes in it, like that I've looked up after loving them in game and been like,
hmm,
oh damn it, I can't have one of these. But now I could with importation and everything. But like,
hmm,
yeah, it's get Ride 3, get a feeling for like what bikes you like, and get an idea of like because it starts you out on starter bikes. Like you
hmm.
don't just start that game on a 600. You got to
No.
work your way up through 250s and stuff. So it's
Yeah. No, I mean, I already know what I would want because I'd be looking at a Royal Enfield, like a 250, 350. So just because I'm not into huge sporty bikes. Like the biggest bike I still like is the Bimota YB8.
those are expensive
Yes, they are.
and difficult.
Yes, that's why it's
Because
not a
they're
bike.
Italian.
Yeah, so that's not a bike for a very long time. I like more smaller bikes, especially with Okinawa. You don't need a powerful bike. Um,
Yeah, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying, like, I don't know, at least in America and specifically around here, like, if you were starting out and just learning to ride, you'd buy, like, a Ninja 250.
yeah,
And then, like, they'd be like, why do you buy a Ninja 250? It's like, well, because they're $800 on Craigslist and I don't care if I drop it and it's already been dropped 3 times because it's a starter bike. And when
yeah,
I'm done with it, I'm going to buy a bike that I'm not going to drop because I know how to ride now. And I'm going to sell that to someone who's going to drop it some more. You
yeah,
know, it's like,
yeah. That's the
yeah.
thing. Unfortunately, it's just a pain in the ass trying to deal with that because you can only have one motorcycle at a time. So
Yeah.
probably what I'll end up doing is I'll spend a couple, like 2 or 3 grand on one, and then go with that. Um, but yeah, so because I do have other people on my team that are trying to learn, so it's just easy.
Just don't be like Tanner. Tanner bought that Harley and then trashed it. So,
No, yeah, that's why I would at most 350, probably more likely 250, just because.
well, Harleys have big engines. They're like 1200, but like they're not. they're not like a 1200 sport bike. Like they're
No.
very different.
Yeah.
Like it's a big engine, but like it's not all that. Like it's
Yeah.
about like a 350.
Yeah.
Like it's.
But yeah, no. So something small. But I'd have to start looking at gear, which yeah. So I'll figure it out. I mean, I have time, so
Um, as far as boots in regs, you can get away with wearing your boots.
I would
Just
buy.
a jacket and a helmet. You don't need like gloves and like riding shoes and leather pants and shit. You don't need
No.
all that. That's coming from me. I've ridden motorcycles before. Um, I never even wore a helmet, but I'm an idiot, so don't be like me. Buy a helmet.
Yeah,
Buy
no.
one that's not ridiculous and stupid.
There are
Yeah,
requirements that in the military you have to follow. I would never wear my
yeah.
military boots because I don't like to. I would get a lot of summer weather gear because it's
Breathable, yeah, because
yeah,
it's hot there.
yeah. So, but yeah. So I have some gear in mind. It's just figuring out if I want to go to it because right now because they only go to fiscal year or fiscal quarter 4, which is beginning of October. So they only go. The only openings he has is in September. So
Mm.
I don't know if I want to get gear that soon because right now my car is scheduled to go into the shop at the end of this month. So
Definitely, probably wait till the car is all squared
yes,
away before you endeavor into the new world of
no,
motorcycling.
yes. So
And get
that's
Rad 3. Rad 3's dope. You'll really enjoy it. It's a great like racing game
mm-hmm.
too. Like it's just really fun to play. It's
Mm-hmm.
addictive almost.
But yeah, I mean that's the thing. If you want any sport bikes or Japanese only bikes, those are easy to get because they basically ship those with my household goods. As long as you drain all the fluids out, they'll ship with household goods. So
Hopefully
because
they don't then try to like start it up and move it while
no, they'd probably want
while
to
it's
just
in transit or anything, you
they'd
know?
probably just want to box it up and that because I have one of the
Just trade
guys
it, yeah.
because one of the guys I work with who has a motorcycle license, he's looking at buying. It's not Triumph. It's one of those big brands though. He's looking at buying one. I can't think of the name of it. Had it, but he wants to buy one here because I think they make them here. So he wants to buy here a brand new one and then take it back home with him because he's going back to the States after this. So
Yeah, as far as like bikes in the warehouse project go, I can wait until we're doing that to get bikes. I'm not afraid of like importing one. I'm definitely
yeah,
not going to put the onus on you to like buy a bike and keep it secured all
yeah,
the way in like moving back here and shit. Like
that's
I'm
whatever.
not worried about that.
So yeah, I mean, there's definitely that's another just hobby to do just because it's one.
Yeah, bikes are easy.
Yeah,
You know, there's like less parts and like a lot less to go wrong, and tune up is like, I mean, if it's not a brand new bike, it's like a carburetor rebuild, some new fluids and filters, and change spark plugs. So,
yeah. It'll be a lot easier and just cheaper on gas because right now I go through a tank of gas a week and that's 7,000 to 8,000 yen.
I go through hella gas when I still drive, which is why I don't ever leave the house anymore.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. Your engine's a lot bigger than mine.
6.2 liters. It's
One
entirely too big, honestly.
1.3 liters.
Well, yes and no. It's a 1.3, but you kind of got to triple that because
Three.
there's three areas there of
It's
there's three
also
combustion chambers there, and one of them's always firing, which is why the engine never cools down. So
and it's also a two-stroke, which doesn't help.
it's not necessarily a two-stroke. It just runs like a two-stroke and sounds like a two-stroke.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's whatever.
I don't think you really get strokes with rotaries, but yeah.
Yeah, it's kind
In,
of a
in,
weird
in,
thing.
in terms of technical nomenclature, though, it would be a two-stroke because the act of
Yeah,
combustion and then exhausting it is what draws in inlet air. So I mean, it does
yeah,
operate like a two-stroke. But yeah,
yeah.
uh,
The only other big
oh,
thing
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the only other big thing I had was I think it was Haggerty did it, which, oh god, I will not. I'll just let me just Google it on my phone. That way I don't fucking deal with that. But they did one on the turbine car. I believe it was Haggerty.
Which turbine car? There's been several.
The
Was it Granatelli's Corvette or?
No, it was from the 50s or 60s.
So probably the Ford
The
turbine car.
the Chrysler turbine car.
Oh, the Chrysler turbine car.
Yeah, which that was a
I have the Chromebook for looking things up. I can pull that shit up, Jamie.
so that was another good one just because they went over the the various things that were absolutely wild, not only with the car but just the way they marketed it. In that they essentially they built 200 or so of them, and then they just gave them out to people to go and be like, hey, review this car, tell us what's wrong with it or good with it, and basically tell the world about it. And
They were like okay cars. They were just so different and new. It was
yeah,
like I don't know about this, you know.
oh yeah, and that's why they had to go over they built the honeycomb sort of wheel that would cool the air that comes off.
Yeah,
Like
the literal turbine wheel.
yeah. So they went over so much interesting stuff, and then it ended up that Jay Leno ended up getting one, caught on fire because something got clogged, and that honeycomb wheel that was basically supposed to cool the air, because they went back in the 50s after the project was done. They destroyed everything. They destroyed most of the cars except like 5 of them. They destroyed all the books that basically documented it. They actually had to call in the old people that built it to go and try and figure out, because the company that built it, yes, they had the parts to do it, but they didn't have the knowledge of how they made those parts.
Yeah, the original design drawings probably long gone.
So
Nobody would remember. And then it's amazing what engineers remember about shit. Like I watched a great video of the guy who actually designed the McLaren MP4
the
4.
the F.
It wasn't because it wasn't Adrian Newey. Adrian Newey claims he did it. He's written a book about how he did everything, but he didn't actually do it. The guy who actually did it, it was like a 3-part long interview with him about it. What the fuck is that guy's name? Well, I'm looking this up.
I'm gonna grab a glass of water then while you're doing that.
You do that. Was it the MP44? Yes, it was. So there's actually so the chief designer was a guy named Steve Nichols, who was an American guy. But they've also got this guy Matthew Jeffries, who was the project lead for the monocoque and the front suspension, and this guy Neil Trundle, who was the chief mechanic in '88. They've got all of them talking about this car in this. It's like this channel JM on Cars, JAYEMM.
Oh yeah, I know him.
Yeah, and it's this one's 2.5 hours long, and there's another one that's an hour and 15 minutes long, and it's all these guys, talking about the car, and it's like, how do you remember that the reason the wing is like this is because you made a jig that didn't fit this thing, so you had to cut this much of it off, and then that just made this shape. But how do you remember that that's how you did it in 1988? How do you remember that? It's amazing what engineers remember. It's like, talking about how like, oh, we had to call this aviation company to do our carbon fiber because, Bruce and McLaren and everybody, they wouldn't pay for an autoclave, so we couldn't make our own carbon fiber parts of it then. But bonding them together was tricky because we didn't know if they were going to line up. But they did. Like, how do you just remember all these from 1988? It's 2023,
Yeah,
I don't remember shit I did like in the Navy a couple years ago. Like, how do you remember? Like,
oh yeah,
let alone like numbers, specs, measurements. You just rattling all this off. Like, well, I guess when you worked as hard as they did to like figure this out and like work on it,
the
and,
pride
like, dial
that they
in.
had.
Yeah. Not only that, but like the MP44 is pretty widely regarded as like one of the best F1 cars ever made because it won almost every Grand Prix it entered.
Yeah, it did
which I think
fantastic.
I don't know how many cars have actually won every Grand Prix they've entered. I think only a couple times that's happened, and that was back in the days of Alberto Ascari and one Manuel Fangio. Like that was a long time ago.
Much
Um,
different time than now.
yeah, I feel like that was a better time though.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Definitely not in terms of everything. In terms of the racing, though, before
Yeah,
it became too big.
too big, too safe, all that kind of stuff. There's
Too fucking boring.
yeah,
I
that's
can't stand F1 now. God, it's boring. The cars are huge. Everything sucks.
it's just very. It's not a fun watch anymore.
No. That's why you've got all these casual fans now. They don't actually watch any of the racing. They only watch that stupid goddamn Netflix show.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't even know when races are on. They just watch that stupid fucking Netflix show.
They watch the Netflix show and then they watch Donut Media because that's all I need to.
Yeah. Well,
Which is
the races are all on YouTube like 20 minutes after they're finished. The whole race is on YouTube free.
it's wild. It's wild.
Another good channel I found lately, Patina Collective. They just did a video about the Yakuza Special S72 AMG wide body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Patina Collective, that's a good channel. They're all right.
Yeah, I think I have them as well. Yep, yeah, I actually watched theirs.
Yeah, they do a lot of Mercedes stuff, which I like. Big 80s Mercedes, the full Miami Vice cocaine treatment
Yeah,
Mercedes.
the
I think they're
Kodak ones.
fantastic. Oh, absolutely. Or even the more insane, like Gambalas and shit. Like, dude, absolutely insane looking cars. Love them. Uh, but yeah, the only other thing really I've been watching is I've been watching The Idol, that show with The Weeknd and Johnny Depp's
Oh, mhm.
daughter, and man, just that show is just like nothing but sexually exploiting that girl. And like occasionally there is some music. It's a bit like Entourage in how that, if you ever watch Entourage, like there were plot lines, but like they never went anywhere, and the show never
Yeah.
went anywhere, and nothing ever happened. It's about like that. It's a very LA Hollywood show, and that nothing ever happens and nothing ever like goes anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But
Which I
there's a
mean,
whole lot of like ass and titties, and it's all her, and like they talk about like abuse and shit, and it's just like, and even then, that never actually goes anywhere. And yeah, uh, big piece of shit of a show, honestly, and story wise, and plot and all that. Cinematography, I mean, it was a good looking show. It was well lit. I liked the
mm,
color grading in a lot of scenes. It was stylistic, but bad show, terrible show. I wouldn't be surprised if The Weeknd never does any more acting after this, because personally, that character they invented for him is just absolute clown shoes.
yeah,
And I mean, he played it well. If the goal was for him to be like laughed at and made fun of for being ridiculous, because it is, but like, yeah, I don't know what they were hoping to achieve with this show, but I don't think they did it.
it,
Not a good show. Moist Critical and I are in agreement on that. I posted about it on Facebook the other day. I was
mm,
watching it, and somebody told me like, "Oh, hey, Moist Critical talked about that," and then I watched his videos on it, and I was like, "Yeah, we're in agreement, man. What the hell is this show? Is it just, hey, check out Lily Rose Depp's ass and titties and also her pussy? Like, what is this show? What the fuck?"
yeah,
It's pretty much all the show was. I don't
that's
understand.
disappointing. I mean,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Not my kind of thing. It's
Yeah,
not
I don't know. I run out of shit to watch on YouTube and stuff, and it's like, well, I don't want to rewatch something again, so I just like I'll hit like Netflix and Hulu and Prime, and I'm just like, what's new, what looks neat, and I stumbled on that, and I was like, oh yeah, The Weeknd's in that. Maybe his music's in that. Hardly any of his music is in it.
mm,
It's just it was weird.
yeah.
So it looks like when I'm bored, I'll be once again rewatching The Sopranos for like the 84th time, because I think I said it pretty well on Facebook the other day. That show is a Renaissance painting of civilization in our time, and I
Yeah.
love it. And I'll never not love the stupid memes that came out of that show. That show has so many fucking memeable frames.
Mm.
Oh my god. Yeah, I fucking love Sopranos memes. But that was really all I had.
Yeah, I mean, not too much else really has
Yeah.
happened.
I'm gonna open all the windows and turn the AC on. I'm gonna point it right at my balls because it's hot as fuck. It was not 87 degrees in here before we started recording, but because I turned the AC and everything off to record, because I'm like, oh, it's loud. I don't want to fucking fuck up my mic levels and shit with the AC being on.
Mm-hmm.
It has gotten sweaty in here.
Yeah, the only other thing that had happened was I don't know if I told you about that kid that was retarded. Well, he went and because he has such a huge problem with Pride Month, and he
Oh
doesn't.
yeah, he went
He
and got himself in Navy trouble by being a bigot.
no, yeah, that would be funny, but no.
God, that'd be so fucking funny.
He went on Reddit in July, so after Pride Month ended, and one of his apparent favorite subreddits decided they're going to keep the Pride flag for a little bit longer.
Hell
And
yeah.
and
Love who you love, bro. We're all people.
he decided I'm gonna throw a fit. So he went and he made a comment about, oh man, why do we see this shit? Pride Month's over, and proceeded to get fucking roasted. And then
absolutely spit roasted.
And so he came crying to me at work, like, "Oh man,
I got bullied on Reddit." That's fucking hilarious. I hate you.
I was just like, "Look, man, Reddit is very left leaning. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? Did you think you were
the
gonna
front
start
page of the internet? Of course, it's progressive. You are behind the times if you're not progressive.
Yeah,
I don't understand why people don't understand that. Like,
I was
you
like,
will be left behind by history if you refuse to become modern.
I just don't like. Okay, they
Once
had
again,
their.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
I have no idea.
If you've never played through the storyline of that game, I recommend you do. But a large part of that is that the Old West and the dream and the world that Dutch Van der Linde and his gang sought to that they love and they sought to live in. That world is vastly disappearing because of the modern world and technology, and their time has passed, and they can't accept that yet. So they rage against the dying of the light, and all that really ends up doing is getting them hunted down by government agents.
Sounds all right. Yeah, that's basically like about how it is for a lot of the certain demographic.
The boomers are dying.
Certain demographic, we'll go with. But
good thing the boomers are dying.
Yeah, it was funny to hear him complain because while we do have people that are very more right leaning on the team, which you get that in the military. Even they were
you get weird dudes.
Even they were like, "Look, man, Reddit's left leaning. Like, you're probably going to get banned because you said that, but
you're never going to win against Reddit."
Like, and then we went into a whole discussion about how Reddit is basically moderated by like 7 dudes that do modding for all of it, which is true.
Yeah. Or right now it's 7 dudes because fucking all the other mods are on strike because of third-party apps.
So it was funny just to hear because I was like, look, man, you're not gonna get sympathy from me. Like it could be Pride Month every month for all I care. Like I don't give a shit. Like
yeah, I did. I'm
like
pre-military. I didn't have that much interaction with like gay people or trans people, but like people are people.
Yeah,
like, they're still people. Like I've met a tremendous amount of like gay and trans people, and they're fantastic people. They're awesome to hang out with. Like I don't have anything against anybody for any reason other than like the shit they deserve. Like if you're a terrible person, I don't like you because you're a terrible person.
Yeah.
Like if you're a dickhead, I might still like you even though you're a dickhead, but I'm gonna let you know you're a dickhead all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's not like they're asking for special treatment to not pay taxes like the church.
Yeah, like they're not asking for any kind of privilege that normal. It's like normal. They're not unnormal, but like they're not asking for anything other than what everybody else doesn't have. They just want to be allowed to be themselves. And like this is America. Everyone is allowed to be themselves.
Yeah. So
unless you're a woman and you don't want to be pregnant anymore, then you're not allowed to be yourself.
In most states, yeah. Or in
states,
or in Texas where they just outlawed water breaks.
Oh yeah, it's summertime in Texas, and there's no more water breaks for people working outside in Texas. At least
Yeah,
no legal ones.
yeah,
Granted, if you still work for a company that doesn't actually want to kill its workers, you probably are still taking breaks. But
yeah. But if you
yeah,
don't, then you probably you know look, man, loyalty doesn't pay the bills.
yeah,
Sorry to say, and it's
yeah.
gonna pay even less bills when you're dead.
I swear to God, if I ever work again at another place, it's like we're family here. It's like, well, I abandoned my family in Ohio. I'll leave this fucking job too. Like, I don't give a shit.
The minute you guys are not worth it,
Yeah.
leave.
Well, if
But
something better comes along, bye. And
yeah,
that's not exactly what I did to my family, but I did leave Ohio behind the minute something better presented itself.
yeah. So I don't
Recruiter
know.
at the Navy office said San Diego. I was like, sign me the fuck up, dog.
Yeah, it's
He was like weirdly informed too. He was like, yeah, pipeline's backed up. You're gonna be there for like 2 fucking years. I was like, oh hell yeah, let's do it, bro. Let's go. Like, yeah, you're not gonna see the fleet. Fucking, you guys detailer just like killed himself. Like he just knew all that before I even went to boot camp. It's like,
Jesus.
yeah.
I mean, it's definitely the Navy's gotten
What are you
worse.
banging on right now?
Oh, I'm just playing with my gearbox.
Oh, that's loud as shit.
Oh
It's like what that sounded like to me was like,
yeah, I can hear it with my
ah,
headphones off.
that's
Ah,
loud, man.
I'll filter it out. But
I have no idea if any of that will make it through
it
recording
did probably.
or if people are going to be watching and be like, I don't understand what, listen. McNeil is a sonar tech. McNeil has like dog hearing, and also mics pick up weird shit that you
Mm,
don't always see. It doesn't always. The live recording, we pick up on things and hear things that don't always come through in the video or the
yeah.
VOD.
Oh
So
yeah. It
there's some
happens.
loss here.
But yeah, the Navy definitely has looking at the detail, the assignments page. It's really weird.
Oh, and
Uh,
CMSID.
yeah,
Yeah.
the jobs don't make sense. That a
Have you
lot of
seen
them.
the Fallon, Nevada auto hobby shop
I've seen it every so
posting?
often. I haven't looked at it, seen it lately, but
I still have no one has ever been able to tell me what that job is because it's you're not a mechanic when you do that job.
no, you would essentially
Are you
be
like a cashier? Are you just like
you
a guy standing at a counter? Like that
you'd
sounds like
be
a cake detail.
yeah, you'd be the guy that basically hands the equipment. You'd be like the DIY shop, like cashier. Like you'd hand people the equipment and all
Yeah,
that.
I
That's
remember
it.
them
That's it.
in San Diego and in at Whidbey too, but like they were civilians. They just like were guys who were there. Like I don't.
I will say because I drove there with the Viper, it wasn't a great place.
No, I don't imagine it is, but
It's definitely a.
there's a naval installation there with an auto hobby shop.
It didn't
Oh.
feel like a naval installation. I'll say that either. I don't know why. Like why they
But
had it on
it
there.
may be a joint base like JBLM.
Maybe, but like that's a weird place to have a Navy place. Like,
Well, it's the desert. The Navy has the most aviators, naval aviation, aircraft testing. I mean, reasonable. Or some of our other, like naval intelligence shit, long range comms and shit, satellites and all that shit. We all that classified shit gets fucked on in the desert. I mean, it's
yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of classified stuff, there was not my job, but the
oh,
Dark Docs went and did a thing on the.
oh, Dark Doc. I love Dark Docs.
He did one on the fucking one of the missiles that was shot down from Russia. That was he was more enthused about the fact that it had GPS capabilities to basically self correct itself to fire where it needed to.
So
But
that's
that's been a thing. But the thing I really liked about that he covered that he didn't cover as much was that basically they shot it down, and then they shot down in a way that it basically it crashed, so they X-rayed it to see what was inside of it because it was supposed to be, and they found out it was actually the most advanced missile that Russia has, in that it was a hypersonic, but it also had the ability to fire.
hypersonic and still got shot down.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's because we've been giving him
What
Ukraine
shot
missiles.
it down?
One of our things are things that shoot down, missiles.
Oh, like an anti-air thing or
Yeah, yeah.
a missile defense
So,
battery, some kind. Yeah.
but then they X-rayed it and they
They're
found
gonna
that
tell me it was the
actually,
ghost of Kiev. What was he flying? I have to ask Tanner what the Ghost of Q's been
Mig
flying.
something like Mig 29.
Is it a MiG? Because I know we've been giving them shit. I don't know if
Well, it was
it would be
back
an
then.
F something now.
It was. I
Yeah.
mean, but essentially, the main thing that was so interesting about it was the fact that it actually had its own flare defense system.
The missile could launch flares?
Yes, and that was what was interesting to me.
That's
Because if you could
that
fire,
is strange because it's
because if you could fire off flares that fast, then you'd be defended long enough to hit where you needed to. So clearly,
well,
it didn't work.
it's weird to me because if the missile's chaffing flares, that may throw off its own guidance.
Well, not if it's using GPS.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I have to brush up on my missile guidance technology. And when crack open, does the missile know where it is? Have you ever seen that book? Big ass goddamn meme book about missile guidance. It's called "Does the Weapon Know Where It Is?"
What the fuck?
Basically, the meme line from it is that does the missile know where it is? The missile knows everywhere that it isn't, and it subtracts everywhere that it isn't from what's left, and that's how the missile decides where it is.
Oh my god!
It's a
What a
stupid
stupid
thing, and it's like, well, that sounds really dumb, but also yes, no, the missile doesn't actually know its own, like, unless it is GPS guided, it doesn't know like its position. It just knows everywhere else, and it knows everywhere that it's not. So that's how it knows where it is.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
a whole meme in like people who like, because I've been in Ace Combat subreddits and stuff lately, and you know about jets and everything. It's a big like weapon and plane and tank guys who play War Thunder, and like guys like Tanner are like big in their like subreddits is like, how does the weapon know where it is? And it's like it's a whole meme.
Jesus God. Yeah, I sent the video to you that way you can watch it. It wasn't Dark Docs, it was dark footage.
Ah, okay. I went to Dark Docs and I was like, oh, yeah, the last thing he did was about some World War II shit. But Dark Docs has like 11 channels that are all dark something.
Yeah, Dark Sea, all that kind of shit.
Now that I'm not on a ship that goes out into the ocean anymore, or I'm not on a ship at all anymore, I fucking love Dark Seas. I love watching about horrible naval catastrophes. I'm so glad I never knew about videos like that while I was still on the ship, because I would have I was losing my shit on my last deployment. Superstitiously, I would have been really losing my shit,
especially because all the
rogue waves and shit. Oh god!
And all the crews were named after subs that never
submarine never returned from patrol. Yeah, what a fucking stupid, idiotic thing to do. Oh, that's like a pretty recent thing. That's like a last 10 years thing too, because like they weren't always called that. Like somebody there decided, got the good idea fairy, decided it was a good idea to name them all that.
Probably the same guy that decided, morale does not equal happiness.
No, it was before his time. Fuck that guy. Captain Burns. Was that Hempek?
No, that was Commander Burns.
That was Commander Burns, and morale does not equal happiness?
Yeah, because Commander Hempek said that morale is your problem, figure it out.
Yeah, he was a super good dude.
They always are.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was all I had, so...
Yeah, MiG-29 Ghost of Kiev's flying. That's a...
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's a pretty dated plane. That, I believe, is what Maverick shot down in the first Top Gun. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, hey, one thing I loved about Top Gun, too, is that are you going to watch it?
No.
Okay, so on this super secret, only one pilot can fly this mission that like 9 fucking people go on. Mav gets shot down. He puts his plane in position to take a missile for Goose's son to save him, and then he idiotically comes back from Maverick, and then he also gets shot down, and then they fight about it, and he's like, yeah, I took that missile for you. You're supposed to be back on the carrier. You're supposed to get out of here. And then they end up, I don't know, leaving to go to the airstrip that was bombed for them as a distraction for their mission. And then they see that these definitely not Russian fictional country bad guys happen to have an F-14 somehow on the tarmac. Yeah, so they've got it was fucking is way back in like the first 30 minutes of the movie, right after he crashes his test plane and shit and gets sent back to Top Gun. They're going through the briefing and like, yeah, they've got all these fifth generation fighters, some MiG 29s, and they've even got an old F-14, fucking relic from the past like you old piece of shit or whatever. John Hamm's yelling at Tom Cruise about being old and still being a pilot and whatever. I don't know. The movie is very fictional and not entirely grounded in reality. I feel like suspension of disbelief needs to happen for that. So just be prepared. If you do watch it, anybody watching this, it's not real. It's a movie. But anyway, these definitely not Russians.
Tom Cruise isn't a pilot?
So Tom Cruise actually is a pilot, and the P-51 Mustang he's working on at various scenes throughout the movie is actually his personally owned P-51 Mustang, and he actually did fly it for its scenes in the movie with what's her name from Labyrinth in the back. I forgot her name. She was Jennifer Connelly. She was hot in the 80s. Arguably she's gotten hotter now because she's much thinner now than she was in the 80s, but I don't know. I would Jennifer Connelly? Yeah, dude. They just don't make women like they did in the 80s anymore. Like if I were to ever like be married and be happily married, I think I'd have to like be married to a woman transported through time. Like she was with her friends in the theater. They were all watching Fast Times at Ridgemont High. She's like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And then all of a sudden, she ends up in 2023 somehow. And it's like, oh, hey, we're going to get along. Because, it's like, what modern woman would happily like sit on the couch and watch Chopping Mall with me? I love that fucking movie. The movie's a piece of shit from the 80s. It's great.
Well, a more realistic one would be just Comatose Woman, kind of like BoJack. What's the owl woman?
Oh, dude, that'd be like I mean, yeah, kind of like that. But anyway, in Top Gun Maverick, they see that they go to the airstrip, and one of the only non-damaged planes that hasn't been scrambled to go intercept the fighters they were flying is the F-14. And fucking, I don't know. This is where the movie gets kind of funny and comedic because Tom Cruise and Goose's son are talking, and he's like, come on, man, we don't even know if that old bag of ass flies. And he's like, yeah, let's go find out. And then he just runs off, and then he sits there for a minute. And he's like, okay, good talk. And then he runs along too and follows him, and then they find it, and they find out it does actually fly. And then Maverick somehow gets 2 more kills on these brand new 5th generation fighters. They refuse to just call them what they are, as the brand new Chinese fighters, even though this is definitely not Russia. In the, I don't know, again, movie suspension disbelief, fictional nation. It's Chusha or Rhina, whatever. It was snowy. Do with that information what you will. It's somewhere there. Yeah, he gets 2 more kills, and you remember he shot down 3 MiGs in the first movie, so now Maverick has 5 air kills. Maverick's an ace. But I think the greatest thing about that is that Maverick got all 5 of his ace kills in an F-14 Tomcat. It just so happens that they happen to be like 33 years apart. And the movie was really sad because Val Kilmer's in it and he talks in it, and you can tell he's probably not long for this world, and then he dies in the movie. Spoiler alert, Val Kilmer dies in Top Gun 2.
Yeah, not the actor, the character.
Yeah, Iceman, not Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer's alive as far as I know, but Iceman Kazansky, I forget his name in Top Gun. He's dead. Also in Top Gun Maverick completely forgot all his missing father trauma that he had in the first movie. Remember that? Wasn't that a plot point in the first one?
I haven't seen that movie.
His dad was like a famous pilot who like got shot down or disappeared or was MIA or something, and that was his big trauma in the first one. And then he killed Goose, and then he was like, oh, I've got new trauma now. And then he forgot all of it and shot down 3 MiGs, and it was like, you're a hero. And then turns out 33 years later, they were going to make a second movie where Maverick has dealt with none of his trauma. And he's still very much a shattered man. But he again saves the day in this one.
Goddamn Tom Cruise. Yeah. Killing it.
I have a story prediction for Days of Thunder 2 based on my having seen Top Gun 2. Cole Trickle is going to come out of retirement to help mentor and teach Rowdy Burns' son how to drive a race car because Rowdy Burns will have died and there will be some trauma there, and Cole will have unresolved trauma about the crash and CTE, and I don't know. It's basically going to be Top Gun 2, but with race cars. Which, Days of Thunder was pretty much Top Gun with race cars because, Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer only knew how to make one film, and they did it twice.
Hell yeah.
Both times the soundtrack was banging. When I heard that original Top Gun music at the start of the movie, I was like, ooh. Yeah, the real deep. Like, oh yeah, the 80s are back. They're so back. And then I don't think at any point in the movie did I hear Highway to the Danger Zone, and I was like, how do you... Kenny Loggins is still alive. You could have had him write a new song for this movie. He would have.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kenny Loggins is great. Kenny Loggins is the best radio DJ, I think, second best radio DJ that Rockstar Games has ever had in a video game. The first being Laszlo. He's been in every game. And he's a real guy. Laszlo Jones.
I don't know. There's one other one. I don't remember who it is.
What game was it in?
Hold on. Flash FM.
Flash FM. Who was the DJ for Flash FM? That was the pop star girl, the British one, wasn't it?
It was Tony. I don't remember who.
Yeah.
What her real. I'm sure if I go to comments.
I will find that real quick.
I'm sure if I go to comments, it'll say. Oh, Ray Liotta.
No, that was Sonny Forelli.
Oh, that's Tommy. Yeah, shit. Yeah.
DJ Tony.
But she's dead. I know that.
Maria Chambers?
Maybe.
Voiced by Maria Chambers. Yeah, I have no idea who Maria Chambers is. She's definitely alive though, and she was born in Boston, Massachusetts.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Who's dead?
Oh. She was the DJ for Flashback FM and Grand Theft Auto 3, Flash FM and Vice City and Vice City Stories, and she also voiced the female in the Pogo the Monkey radio commercial.
Okay then. Huh.
Yeah. She's just a voice actress.
Yeah.
Who are you thinking of?
No, it was her.
Were you thinking of the British lady? From Wave 103.
No, it was definitely Tony, but I guess I've always read it as, every time I've ever listened to it, it's like, oh yeah, rip this person. I was like, oh, that's sad. But I guess it was always some fucking other person that people were thinking of. Whatever. But yeah, I always liked her because she did good music and she was funny as fuck. Especially in the Vice City Stories because she got a side person and they just bickered a lot.
Oh yeah, Terry.
Yeah.
Tony and Terry.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you have crabs. Like, you bitch.
In Vice City Stories, because it's a precursor to Vice City, it's in 1984 instead of 1986. When you listen to V-Rock, Laszlo's still just like a young intern, and the main guy is Cousin Ed, and he's mean as fuck to Laszlo, and he's always bullying Laszlo, and then that makes... on V-Rock in Vice City, at one point, somebody calls in, and he's mad at Laszlo, and he's like, fuck you, dude, you took my job. He's like, I have no idea who you are. And he's like, Cousin Ed, Eddie, I had your job before you had it. I was the V-Rock DJ. And he's like, yeah, I don't remember you at all. It's crazy.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. See, that's when Rockstar still made good games.
Yeah. A lot more comedic and funny.
Yeah. Weren't so serious. Grand Theft Auto 4 was just so damn serious. And then it's like...
Yeah. They've only gotten worse.
Yeah.
Because, you had comedic moments in GTA 5, but, overall, it just wasn't a very fun game.
It was all, hit you over the head, lowest common denominator, Family Guy funny moments, fucking jokes. And it was I liked it more when there was clever writing and, funny things happened,
And it wasn't oh, man, this guy,
The funniest thing that happens in GTA 5 is when Trevor trips over the fence. he goes to see Franklin and he hops the fence and he trips and he falls. Like that was the funniest fucking shit that happened in that game.
I mean, Trevor was probably the best part about that game, just because of every other character was just kind of boring.
Yeah, that's the thing though. They can't. So well, yeah, that puts to bed my theory from earlier. I doubt 6 will be about Claude and Catalina because when they went from 3D universe to HD universe, they effectively said they killed off all the HD or the 3D universe protagonists. So Claude and Catalina, they're all dead.
Hmm.
That's why when promo shots of like Michael released, they were like, "Oh, dude, it's Tommy Vercetti." It's like, no, Tommy's dead.
Yeah, which is stupid because like you had
Which
great characters.
Tommy
That,
is dead because Ray Liotta's dead. But
yeah,
Claude never spoke. Claude is a voiceless
yeah,
protagonist and perhaps the biggest psychopath to ever be the player character in a Grand Theft Auto game.
yeah.
There's a great video about that, but
Definitely could
yeah,
do a
no,
lot with them though. Like in those worlds were definitely felt a lot more fleshed out to
they were
me.
well fleshed out. Game maps not necessarily, but
Yeah,
like
but that was
the world
PS2,
outside of the game map, yes, definitely, actually, it was, and
so
yeah, it was PS2. They had their
yeah.
limits, but yeah, I don't know. Hell, maybe part of it is just that there's no good writers anymore.
That's I don't know because like I know a lot of the writers are on strike because of unfair wages, which go them. I hope you guys get the wages you deserve, but like I hope
Yeah,
that if you do get those, you start writing stuff that actually is decent. Like
yeah, and hey, Rockstar, if you need a writer for any of your projects that aren't shameless GTA Online money grabs, hit me up. I'll write some shit. I'll do
because
it for free. I got a lot of great ideas.
like that's the thing is I'll bring it back to this was Fallout 4. All of the ending quests for the factions were all the same.
Yeah, that's.
It was very lazy
I mean,
writing.
it's like original Mass Effect 3 ending too. Like all the endings were
Uh,
basically just the
I have
same.
no idea.
And
I
it's
never played
like,
it.
well, I don't. I never played Mass Effect 3 either. I played 2, but I just remember the uproar about people were so pissed off about Mass Effect 3's ending. And is Shepard dead? Don't know. And then the
Don't
next
care.
Mass Effect game sucked a fat dong, and
Yeah.
everybody was like, "Fuck Mass Effect." It
Yeah,
hasn't been a game since.
they
So
nuked it when they did that. But yeah, I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
It's writers are just they're almost lazy, and I'd say it's partly the writers, partly the developers overall because they probably don't push the writers, and the writers probably do push, might push, but
But
they get denied. Like
it's the
there's
catch-22. It's like writers aren't real imaginative anymore. They don't have any new ideas anymore. It's like, well, that's why they're not getting paid. But like, hey, maybe if you paid them more, maybe they would have some good ideas. Bless you.
thank you.
It's like,
Yeah,
well, maybe if you didn't let algorithm-based safest bet going forward decisions, drive your entire
oh
creation
yeah.
process to pander to the largest demographic, maybe you would actually come up with some original and thought-provoking, really interesting shit.
Yeah, that and not rely because I know a lot of like they're starting to
Gaming's
push
fucked. Hollywood's fucked. It's all fucked.
because like even Steam's having to deal with games that are being written. They're being developed by humans, but being written by AI, and that's not a good thing. Because it's like, why are we developing AI to do the things that people should be doing when we should be developing AI and robots to do the menial labor?
Yeah, the coding.
Like, that, like the janitorial stuff. Like, why are we?
Yeah,
We should we be encouraging people to be creative instead of hey, we're gonna let
yeah.
the creativity to the robots. You guys do the menial labor.
Yeah, AI is not supposed to be writing Shakespeare. It's supposed to be mining fucking coal.
Like, as soon as it starts writing Shakespeare, it's gonna go. It's gonna start skynetting. Like,
Yeah, we're going the wrong way with this, man. Like, AI is not supposed to be like painting Picasso's. It's supposed to be, you know, manning the assembly line.
yeah.
It's like, oh, it's taking America jobs away. Like, dude, nobody wants to work on an assembly line. It sucks.
That's why a lot of fucking like places are going and using. those self checkouts because it's like, oh well, I can hire
Nobody wants to be a cashier anymore. It
well,
sucks.
well, yeah,
Well,
it sucks even more in
yeah.
America when they make you stand. Like in other
Yeah,
countries, they
why?
make you sit.
Let a cashier sit. Fucking, you're in the same place all day. There's this weird backward fucking American ideal that if you're sitting down, you're not working unless you work in an office, and then you better be sitting at your desk and working.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but that's
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
it's probably a big thing with boomers and stuff, and I don't really
Thank
care
God all the
because
boomers are dying. They're so wrong about so many things.
if only they would die sooner
I think
because
we should cut Medicare funding and let all the boomers die. That's a joke. I don't give a shit about politics, but yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad the boomers are dying.
it will be
Those
nice.
stubborn bastards are holding on for dear life, though.
They got all the good stuff and then they closed the door after themselves.
I'm glad. Like the Airbnb collapse happened.
How has it?
Yeah, the collapse happened, and now all these people who bought homes for the sole purpose of like Airbnb-ing them. It's like, well, now you got a house to deal with. You can't make money on.
Yeah,
Guess you got to sell it to someone who might live in it.
yeah, who might actually use it? Thank God.
Yeah.
So
Well, that was pretty much all I had. I have no idea how long we've been going. I got to take a shit.
yeah, I have no idea. 2.5 hours. About.
How long is my recording? Say it's 2:38.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, I guess.
yeah, we'll cut it here and
Good talk. Good catching up with you.
yeah, yeah, that was fun.
I said it's been like 2 weeks. We just haven't really communicated. I don't know if sleep schedule didn't line up or you're just busy at work or what.
Oh, whole
Ugh.
plethora of things because
Yeah.
fucking work, man. But yeah,
Yeah. Hey man, you can always reach out and get in contact with me. I'm available pretty much 24/7, and
yeah,
we're
same.
homies. Here for you.
Hell yeah. You know who always got your back?
Shit, George, you know the hood always got your back. I use that line so much on people, and like most of them have no idea. And I'm like, Scary Movie 3.
Not even that
Yeah,
old.
3.
Yeah,
But we think it's not even that old. It's pretty old.
it's like 2011.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Anyway,
Whatever. Whatever.
talk
Yeah.
to you later, man.
Yeah.
Tomorrow and the next day, I think we're all gonna try to play some games or something together. So,
Sounds good. Sounds good. I'll be around. I went to the gym today, so tomorrow
damn
and the
it.
next day I'll be off, just chilling. So,
All right. Yeah.
all right, bud. Have a good evening.
All right. Love you, bud.
Love you too,
Talk to
fam.
you later.